Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome in to another Tuesday night. And Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year. We made it to 2023. And as always, I am part of the Melanated Council. I am one third of the Melanated Council. We try to go live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and wherever else you're at in this great big old wide world of ours, tune in that way and come in, have fun, enjoy the show, have a good time, kick back, relax, and shoot the breeze with us and everything else. And as always, well, not as always, but just before Toby and L shows up, we are going to take a moment and thank our sponsor. This stream tonight is sponsored by no other than HelloFresh. HelloFresh has picked us and chosen us to sponsor us, to partner with us to help get their products out there in the world if you have not tried them yet. So again, thank you HelloFresh for sponsoring this stream, sponsoring this channel. We do have our own promo code that you can use to score 70% off plus free shipping on your first box. And so go to HelloFresh.com, use the promo code, which is listed down here at the bottom, and see what you can get with HelloFresh and make it on and make it a good year for you. Make it a good turning point for you as always. And again, just have fun. And hold on, we got somebody. Listen. Okay, we're gonna be happy for the first 3 days because the first 3 days, as of right now, have been pretty much okay, say the least. The first 3 days have been pretty okay. All right, we're gonna go there with that. For the rest of the year, we all know it's a luck of a draw. It's a luck of a draw. But because you made it, that's all that matters. So Shinobi, salute to you. How you been? How's it going? I'm drinking my coffee because it's late and I gotta stay up and everything else. Day one, rent due. I mean, for the most part, you're right, Chad. You're right. Then throw in inflation. Again, you're right. I can't argue with it. I cannot. Even if I tried to argue against inflation, I already know it ain't happening. Nope. I get it. I get it. I get it. Inflation sucks. Having rent due on, the first Monday or today, however your rent is due, you know, is unless you got like, some cool laid back landlords who will be like, just let us know when you can pay us and we'll go from there. Because as long as we get our money, we're good. Mm. Shout out to those landlords. But anybody else that's a landlord, that's just about as shrewd as Mr. Scrooge. I'm going to introduce this to you. But anyways, hopefully you guys had a good Christmas. Hope you guys had a good end of 2022, especially as we're rolling into 2023. Hopefully it went okay. It did something, caused you to reflect, whatever, and just starting off on a good note. Just on a good note. On a good note. But how this year begins doesn't necessarily dictate how this year will end because you are in control, or you're in control of most of it. The other part that's out of your control, hey, do it the best you can. At the best you can, you do the best that you can. Hey, Mark, what's happening, homie? Happy New Year to you. Yeah, we're just getting started and everything else. And we got a really, really nice topic for tonight, especially when we're talking about our as we're continuing on the monthly topic things, which actually worked out very well last year. We're gonna roll it again because it does open up a lot. It does put in perspective a lot of things that are going on. And so with this month, I'm not gonna announce it. I'm going to allow Elle announce it whenever she shows up. And she's going to introduce not only the topic, but also the theme of the month. And, we're going to roll from there. And I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's needed, especially how we ended off 2022 when we were talking about like our goals, how to put those things in perspective, things that we should do, things that we shouldn't do, and what we should do to build up to make the new year great, or not necessarily great, but at least go off in the right direction. And so she's going to do all of that, and then we're going to have fun as usual. We're going to crack jokes, we're going to talk, we're going to do a lot. And do a virtual roundtable. So while they're getting in here again, how's everybody's day been going? How's everybody's week been going? Has anything changed since we last spoke? Has things been different? And if so, was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Was it kind of a meh? Don't even know how to explain it kind of ordeal. Like, this is your opportunity to check in. So, checking with us, ask your questions. We're checking in with you, asking questions, because without you guys showing up here every Tuesday night, we wouldn't necessarily be here. Make the New Year Frosted Flakes. You can splash a little milk on there. It kind of takes the crunch out of it, but get you. I know for me, got snowed in during Christmas. We got snowed in, which was like amazing for once. Like, yay, it snowed. Last year we had a green Christmas. I was like, no, Michigan, you are not supposed to have a green Christmas. We actually had a white Christmas, and it lasted throughout the whole rest of the week. Till the weekend, the temperature jumped up. Yes, they're great. Love that commercial. And so, what ended up happening? So the snow melted, and the rain came. I'm like, okay, December. Get it. It's kind of a little bit warmer than normal, but I get it, take it, and everything else. So we got that. Snow's pretty much gone. The only thing that's still left, well, I mean, what's your definition of freezing, Mark? Let me throw that out. What's your definition of freezing? Because in South Florida, what may seem freezing to you guys is kind of like typical for us up here and whatnot. So what is your definition of freezing? Like temperature wise, degree wise, like what was the temp? If it's like 40, it's that's fine, sir. That's jeans for some people it's shorts and short sleeves. Me, that's jeans and a t-shirt. Throw on a hoodie and call it a day. As long as it was if it was at least like somewhere between 40. Yeah, I'm telling you. I hear you. Like same out here in Michigan. Like it's been like again, we got hit with that snowstorm, got snowed in towards the tail end of last week. That's when the temperature started warming up very much so, where it's like, okay, this is kind of not normally how it's supposed to be, but I guess we'll take it ish. Global warming, and they say global warming is not real. Okay. But yeah, no, I get it. Even then, I messed around and got sick. Well, actually, I found out, got down to about 40 for a couple hours. Okay. Think, yeah, that's pretty much chilly. That's pretty much chilly. I get you. I get you. Makes sense now. Makes sense. And I get it. I get it. Once it gets down to like 40, that's when it's kind of like, I think I'm gonna throw in a coat. Because I don't like being cold. Me personally, I do not like being cold. I hate being cold. I would rather be warm than anything else. Hey, Carson. Nice. So, Carson, you must be a first time chatter. Let me switch screens really quick just to confirm and make sure. No, don't care. Okay. Well, thank you for coming in, Carson. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for stopping in and whatnot. Glad to have you. Before we go any further, oh yeah, agreed. Agreed. All right. So we got one person who showed up. So now we're at the 2/3 of this wonderful trifecta that's coming in on the Tuesday night. So this person, he is a gentleman and a scholar above all gentlemen and scholars throughout the whole world. He is known for playing Russian roulette when it comes to food, drinks, anything that has an expiration date. He says the expiration date, who cares about the expiration date? As long as it tastes good and it smells okay, we're eating it or we're drinking it. So obviously, this man has like an iron stomach. Also, I guess when it comes to food, he is, I don't know what, 1,000-0, so he's never lost. Again, iron stomach and whatnot. So without any further ado, let me introduce to some, reintroduce to a few others. The one, the only, the one I'm about to snatch your girl, give her back and snatch her again just because she made me some bomb food. Give it up for Toby.
Hey. Well, thank you.
Oh, you're
Um,
welcome.
I mean, we'll see about the food thing. I'm gonna play with my life a bit less in this year. Boundaries, no, because I think even like the idea that I have like there's some food and stuff that's in my apartment. I'm still home in Maryland, but back in my apartment in Boston or Mass, I should say. There's definitely some food that I probably have to go toss out, and I'm just gonna like, you know, stuff that I've opened. Sell by as a joke, expiration dates a suggestion. Yes.
Yes, that
I was
part.
literally thinking that. I was like, expiration dates are suggestions. What are y'all talking about? But yeah. Oh, man.
So how you
Update
been?
my collection. How's it all going? I haven't seen you guys all year. I haven't been on the stream in a whole year. It's crazy.
Yeah, like more or less like about a week. But yeah,
Feels like
about a
years.
week. But yeah, no. How was things? How was the new year? How'd you bring it in? Oh, there you
Um,
go.
it was
Come on,
cool. I mean,
Carson.
I stayed home all day for New Year's Eve. I did go to DC on New Year's Day, but like it was just to meet a friend. I went to Virginia, Northern Virginia, which is literally right across the bridge. Yeah, I mean, the lighting here, I don't know, it's interesting. It's not as bad. The one in my apartment is really strange. I feel like the lighting is always like. I think it's also weird because the way the light is, like, if I go up, oh, it might be a little too bright, but it's missing a bulb, and another one is like
Mm.
really light. So the one that should be shining towards me is like done. But it is what it is. So my favorite food, Carson. Also, where did I don't remember if you said, but where did you join from? Like, is this your first time on like, watching us? And did you see us from I don't know a Twitter page? Did you see us from I don't know if you've been part of the YouTube ecosystem or like the Twitter verse, or is it just kind of random Twitch recommendation? I don't know if you were following us back when we were McCoy and any of the Yang sphere. But
Mm.
to answer your question, I don't know. I mean, there's different foods I like. I'm definitely partial to a lot of my country, like Nigeria's food. Jollof rice and chicken. Um, Definitely like plantains, meat pie, but like I don't eat that food a lot. Let's make a deal. Oh, let's make a deal. Is that like game show where it's like you have the suitcases? No, that's
Yep.
Deal or No Deal.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's the other no deal.
what's Let's Make a Deal? Is that the same?
That's the one. That's the one with Wayne Brady.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess
the
I'm just not hip. Maybe I'm just not as hip. But oh, my favorite food is anything from HelloFresh. Use our code that is there and look at the little corner above. Oh, it's so weird. It's not mirrored, unlike StreamYard. But yes, right above me, go see the blue. I mean, the oops, HelloFresh. I almost said something else. Go see the HelloFresh code. Check the stream. But in reality, I mean, like I don't know, like pizza is something I used to really love, but now I barely eat it. Like that was a college thing, grad school, and when I was in upstate New York, I could eat pizza all the time because it was just a lot of, actually in the town I lived in, Troy, New York, that was actually where like there was a pizza place that I guess Hillary Clinton said was her favorite. A place called DeFazio's, which is crazy because that was in the town I was in grad school. Like no one knows what Troy, New York is, but it was near Albany, like 15 minutes from Albany, and that's a much more known place. Even a lot of people don't know where Albany is, and that's the freaking capital of New York. Um, so in any case, um, burgers are cool. Like I think when it came to burgers or pizza, I would often prefer burgers. But to be honest, pizza is like a nice, good. It's just so easy, just so satisfying, just very satisfying. A little
yeah.
problematic when it's like I have a whole box and I'm like, oof, I'm about to eat this entire pizza in one go. But I'll still do it, or I'll at least eat 4 slices, maybe five if I'm crazy enough. Um,
Mm. Yeah.
and so I don't know. In terms of my favorite food that I love to eat expired, well, I definitely played with like a lot of ground turkey. Um, Chicken breasts I could sometimes pull off. The one that I could never pull off was pork. That would go bad so fast. I noticed that if I had like pork, like just pork loin or whatever, like the slabs of pork were, no, that would just go bad like crazy. And there was another food that I think would go bad pretty quickly. But I think ground patties could last for a while. Ground turkey would last for a while. Um, oh, appreciate you for being on though. We stream
Mhm.
every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. What part of the world or the country are you coming from? Because we've seen people from Norway. We've had people from the UK. We've had people from
Mm.
Mexico, which Mexico is pretty much um, within the U.S. I mean, it's not within the U.S., but it's like our time zone. I think Mexico might be like Pacific.
Denver, let's
Oh,
go.
okay. So
From
you're in
Colorado.
Colorado. So yeah, so I mean it's the same time zone there as some of our other streamers. We used to have people from South California. Um, so cool. Thank you for joining us. And we have a Discord, as you can see here. You have Stream Elements. So if you're not already part of the Discord in our little ecosystem, join there. We always post, people like to post videos, articles, we discuss it. Sometimes we get ideas and inspiration from you guys for what to talk about for future streams. Sometimes we preview our future streams there. So come there and join the discussion. And appreciate you again, and you definitely enjoy the
Yes.
rest of your, I guess, evening. Because for us, it's like late. For you, it's just breaking evening.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, Toby,
Mm.
would you like to do the honors to bring in the final piece to make this whole trifecta complete?
Yes. Oh
Go for
man,
it.
this one I have not seen this one. Talk to this one all year, and it's broken my heart. It's broken my heart. No, but seriously, she's a young whippersnapper, very ambitious, very ambitious. I can say this now. Very ambitious, has a whole podcast, has had many interests, does a stand-up comic in a past life, and it shows in her wit and interaction. even though I've had to get off Twitter for my own. Oh man, okay, I'll take this call later. I've had to get off Twitter for my own good. Um, you should go follow her on Twitter because she always posts bangers and just has really interesting things to say, really timely. Like, oh, even, ooh, even when there was a Capitol insurrection, there were bangers being tweeted and very timely, pungent things, and I always appreciate L's insight and just the balance. You know, I love you, Ron. You know that I always have a good time on the chat, but there's a very much needed third perspective on a lot of topics. And so I'm very appreciative whenever this one is on and
Yes.
to have the sharp wit, insight, and just, you know, just, just always telling it like it is raw without, you know, without sugarcoating, but at the same time, always trying to like be understanding of other perspectives. And so give it up for the one and only L, but we're not taking L's.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you
Oh
go.
my goodness. Y'all, you guys always make my night. And I feel like for the past couple of nights, Tuesday nights, I've been coming on kind of late, so I apologize for that.
Now you know the
but-
number rule. You know the
That's
rule.
true. That's true. That's true. I take back that of I just be coming on late sometimes, and y'all just got to deal.
I
I love it.
So.
I love
Yeah. No, but yeah.
It's on you, L.
So I don't know if you all can see this. This is like a different kind of cord than I usually have my my mic plugged into. It's an XLR. I literally just got this like Focusrite thing. I forgot what these things are even freaking called. It's like, hope I'm not pressing any. Nah. Like it's like I forgot the term. It's like a audio interface. So like a lot of like podcast people or musicians especially use these like kind of interfaces and things like that. So I wanted to kind of treat myself for the new year about like, like how to kind of better my, my audio and sound thing. And it's also just like a fun like personal project to do anyway. So I literally got it today and I hooked it up probably like an hour before the live stream, like an hour and a half. Just trying to figure it out. Like I never used these things in my life. So I was just like, I really hope audio is coming out. I mean,
Interesting.
I see in the restream, like we have like this little meter thing for audio. So I have proof that you guys can hear me. But I mean, hopefully it sounds better. Like I did a side-by-side comparison of just using the USB-C cord, which is like a lot, like it's like this one was like a lot thinner, and the XLR, and I heard a difference. Like it seems like it's a lot more like fuller. But yeah, regardless, it's fun, and I'm kind of enjoying it.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of. You said XLR is that a type of, or is that the name of the actual like?
It's the type of cable, like because of like the prongs and stuff, and yeah, so like you see it in like a lot of like musicians for sure use it a lot.
I've definitely seen this for like even when I used to do church, kind of the tech stuff. Like I remember seeing these types of cables and this type of connection.
Yeah, you definitely see that there for sure.
The mixers and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure the mixers were a massive headache.
I mean, like I think we got it easy because unlike a concert or there's praise and worship, but like it's not like very dynamic where you really have to be like controlling a lot of stuff, or like a play or like a theater performance. Oh my goodness, I can imagine you're doing all of these types of things because there's so much cadence between different acts. But it's like, okay, you have a sermon, you have some praise worship, and we didn't really have to sit there behind it the whole time. We just helped mostly break down and maybe to like do some small adjustments. So I think we kind of had a relatively chill setup. But no, I get it though. That kind of stuff can be a lot. Do you guys remember those?
Yeah, I remember those commercials where the guy would be on the phone. It's like, "Do you hear me now?" Good. Then he would just like walk a couple more steps. Like, "Do you hear me now?"
I thought that was Verizon. Well, I know that the guy moved to Sprint recently or something.
Oh, T-Mobile now owns Sprint.
T-Mobile owns Sprint. Oh, T-Mobile owns Sprint. Oh goodness.
Yeah, no, T-Mobile's kind of insane. I'm on T-Mobile. I've been on T-Mobile since 2009, and yeah, like it's crazy how like Metro PCS is under T-Mobile, Sprint is under T-Mobile, Mint Mobile uses like the T-Mobile towers. It's
Mint Mobile. I don't know if I know them.
it's Ryan Reynolds thing. It's very cheap. I was actually thinking about switching over because it's just cheaper. But I do like T-Mobile because even though I haven't been out of the country in years, you get like free data and free text messaging when you're out of the country. So it's really cool. So like I remember I was like in Jamaica and I'm able to like, just surf the internet. Not I think it's like 2G, but still you can still like do things. And I remember I was in Japan, I was able to just, navigate me and my friend pretty much everywhere. It's like, all right, Google Maps says our Airbnb is here. And you don't understand anything because everything is in Japanese.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I mean, every single time we needed like locals to help us though. But luckily a lot of people spoke English and they were very eager to talk in English because I'm sure they never do. But, him and Flo from Progressive are married in real life. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
The "Can you hear me now" guy. They would make a good couple though. I ship that. Someone should write that fan fiction.
Oh man. Yeah, we said
man. I don't know.
Oh no, I was just thinking about that, like that ship. But like also in the chat, I could have believed it too if he said not kidding. I was like, oh okay. I mean, shoot, same industry, I guess. You're in commercial acting and you get to meet other people. I was just reading some stuff about this guy, Mark Marcarelli, and like, yeah, apparently he was like super famous. Like at a wedding, he got more people lined up to get autographs than the bride did, or like more people came to talk to him than to talk to the bride at this wedding. Like I don't know whose wedding it was, but he was invited to someone's wedding. That's actually kind of terrible. Like I feel bad. Like unless the bride is like, oh look, maybe she feels impressed all these people here, but that could be like, And then the other thing was, I guess his grandmother had a funeral, and apparently he could hear someone in the audience whispering, "Can you hear me now?" as she was being lowered into the ground. I'm like, what the heck?
What the hell kind of folklore?
I was just like, what? Like this is real life. Like what in the world? Like, so that's just interesting. But then he did go to Sprint. Like I do remember seeing a commercial in the last few years where I was like, wait, is that the same guy? But apparently in the commercial it was like, you might have known me as the "Can you hear me now" guy, but now I'm on to blah blah blah. But apparently that was like I saw that commercial in the last few years, but 2011 apparently is when he switched, which for me is crazy because I graduated high school in 2012, and I thought that he was in Verizon. Look, I didn't really seek a lot of commercials after that point because I wasn't watching TV. Like once I got to college, my roommates and other people had TV, but it was mostly like some kind of streaming service, or they were just looking at videos online or whatever. So I wasn't really seeing television proper, maybe in a study room or something, but I wasn't watching it. So
Right.
I feel like I kind of fell off when it came to a new generation of commercials and TV shows. Like I really wasn't like aware of all of these new things happening. So like the last 10 years have been kind of a void. Like, and then YouTube, I had premium for the most part. Like and even the commercials I would get when I wasn't on premium, because there are times I had to go on and off, or I had
Right.
multiple YouTube accounts and my other YouTube accounts don't have premium.
Right.
So I would see commercials, but they weren't like that. They might be more like, here's a product that I don't know, like what's the one, Dr. Squash soap that they use like natural. They're like, being a man, you're supposed to smell good, and it's like Sasquatch themed, and you have like these kind of like wood, oak scents, or I don't know, mints or some other things. And I had that for a while. So I would see YouTube commercials more in the line of like, I don't know, things that could be targeted towards me. I think there was some other random stuff. Advertising, I mean, that's a whole doozy, right? Advertising
Mhm.
and media, commercials, and kind of how we see things now, but no. So I know that Ron asked more generally how things are in the new year, and I was just like, I went to DC briefly to see a friend. Met in
Hey,
Virginia,
okay.
then we went to DC. And that was cool. We didn't go out like we thought for a second, like maybe we'll go to what do you call it? Maybe we'll go to. I mean, she was like, yeah, we can go to like a day party or something, or even like a night party. I was like, well, I don't know if I can stay out so late. Like, I do have work off for Monday because that's the observed holiday for New
Mhm.
Year's. But still, I was like, I'm using my mom's car. I'm not really like, trying to be out this late. And honestly, I could have maybe pulled it off, but she got tired, so it was just like, okay, it's fine. Like, she ended up just wanting to like go back home, and she had driven me because I had parked. We had met at a place in Alexandria, Virginia, parked there, and then I rode with her to kind of go because it was very spontaneous. Like, maybe I'll go get food, and that's when we got this Ethiopian Eritrean food. Oh, yeah, I know you don't have Instagram anymore, or at least on your phone, L. But on my Insta story, I had shown this. I mistakenly called it Eritrean. It was actually Ethiopian. We wanted to get
Mm.
Eritrean food, but we ended up getting the Ethiopian one. That was like 7 minutes walking down the street because the Eritrean one was closed. And the two countries are borders; they have a shared history, but like there is
Oh,
definitely
okay.
a distinction. Um, and so that was my New Year's Day. And yesterday I saw a high school friend who I literally had not seen in person probably since around New Year's or 2018. Like, we met a few days after New Year's 2018, so 5 years ago, and we had a whole conversation then. And yeah, she was a good friend from high school. Like, we met in middle school, became better friends throughout high school. She's black, and she's actually Trinidadian American. I never really knew that until I
Hey.
got older, like maybe college age, and then because that's when I was kind of getting more in tune with like kind of heritage and stuff. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you're Caribbean, blah, blah, blah. And so we like hung out a few times through college because she went to a neighboring college like I went to a college in Baltimore County. She went to college in Baltimore County. We were 20 minutes apart, but like neither of us had cars. So we weren't always, hey, what's good, Rocky? We weren't really always hanging out. So we finally like we saw each other maybe a little bit in college time, but not a lot. And then 2018, I was in grad school, so we just met up in our hometown, which is where we both go when we go back home. Now she's married, which is super cool, and we just met up in the mall in our town, and I'm like, yeah, it's great. It's like if I do really stay home and like actually decide to like live in this area, there's so much reconnecting and so much hanging out and so much like it does give me hope. Like, even though I'm a little sad to leave Boston, which most likely will happen, um, it would be sad to like leave my life in Boston and the people I know, but there's a lot here that like I can kind of reconnect with. And if I actually have like my full sort of, well, maybe I'll get more into that when we actually start the topic. But I will say that like there's few options and I may have mentioned it even last week because we talked as a family on Christmas about like possible things that are we gonna do. Like, it was the day after Christmas because my mom's birthday was earlier in December, like middle of December. So we had a little birthday dinner the day after Christmas that Monday, and so we were going around doing updates for the family, and I'm talking about moving and possibly maybe I'll live with my brother who lives in Maryland. Um, I considered even briefly maybe I'll just like stay home for a month or two to save costs, which I desperately need to do because rent is way too much and there's way too much like with car payments and other stuff where it doesn't make sense to have a whole nother year lease. Um, Even if I get cheaper than my current rent, which is with water and sewer, and other fees, and I split with my roommate, it's like 1440, 1450-ish a month. That's better than anything I've had, but that's not sustainable. So I'm like, okay, I could save a lot. Um, and there's some things with boundaries that I can get into later in the stream, but like, um, it would be kind of nice to like save a lot and then be around these people who I grew up with, and then other friends of mine who've moved to the DMV. People I've met in grad school, people I've met in like Boston. There's people who would come, either people who literally live here or people who are visiting. And I think that's pretty cool too. So, but moving on. Well, let me see what Maryland teams tell me, like the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, I was never into football like that, so I really was like Ray Lewis. Okay, cool. He was the big one that everyone knew. And he always had like the dance and everything. Then I knew some people from the Redskins, like RG3s. That's not even the same, but I couldn't tell you. But I'll take your word for it, Rocky. They do need me. Like the Ravens need Lamar Jackson. So, but I was gonna say, moving on. L. I guess we'll talk about what new things or how your new year was and what things you've gotten into so far.
Yeah, so my New Year's was a lot of fun. Like my friends and I went to downtown Fort Lauderdale and we just like went bar hopping. It was kind of funny because like the part of downtown Fort Lauderdale we went to is kind of like, I don't know, tends to be like younger folk. You know, I like to say teeny boppers, but they're like, I don't know, maybe like 21 to like 25, like early college to just right after college. But I don't know, that's where my friend wanted to go. So I was like, all right, whatever. I never done New Year's Eve like in downtown Fort Lauderdale. So yeah, like it was fun. Like we went, you know, to a couple of different places. You know, we just had some drinks. I don't think I drank too hard, but you know, now that I'm older, it's just like hard now. And I guess I had like 2 mixed drinks, a glass of wine, and a beer. But you know, this was like progressively throughout the night. I did chug a beer before heading over there. Well, my friend drove, but so I drank the beer. So maybe because of the beer at first, maybe kind of threw me off. I had a hangover the next day. It wasn't that bad, but it was like this is like when you. It's just the annoying part of drinking. That's why like I don't drink as much as I used to. Anyway, so yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was not like I didn't get home or really get to bed until like 5:30 in the morning. I was just like, oh my god. Like the entire time I was just like, I'm way too old for this. I'm way too old for this. Had a great time. You know, I think I gave my number to like a sugar daddy probably. There, like, we went to this place called YOLO, and my friend was like, "Oh yeah, this is where like apparently like sugar daddies hang out." I was like, "All right," like I don't know why we went over there, but we went over to it, and you know, like there was like a bunch of like Benzes and stuff pulling in, and you know, like a bunch of like nice fancy cars and shit, and we were literally only there for less than like 2 minutes. Like we walked in, my friend wasn't really feeling the vibe, so we left. And as we were walking out, there was like this black dude with like a white shirt and red pants, and red's my favorite color. And I was like, "Yeah, I like your pants." And he was just like, "Oh my god, I love your everything." And then we just started we just struck up a conversation. He asked me like what I do. I was like, I'm a web developer, email marketing, and we were just like talking. He had a Tag Heuer watch, which is like one of my favorite watch brands. So, I mean, when you've worked in Boca Raton for 5 years, you start to kind of recognize watches. Boca Raton is just like a hella rich area.
Yeah.
It's just like stupid rich. It's just stupid money is there. So, but like I've known of Tag Heroes practically like my whole life. So I was just like, ooh. I was like, holy shit, this is a Tag Hero. I just haven't seen one in a long time. like we were just like talking, but yeah, that was kind of funny. One of my guy friends, we were like playing. He was playing this game. I just unfortunately participated, where he would like go up to people and ask them like, who's prettier, her or me? Like her or me, him. And of course, everybody was saying me. Like jokingly, like one group of people said him, but everyone was like, saying me. It was low key, it was a nice ego boost. I'm not even gonna deny that. But it was also because some of the comments people were saying, like this one chick was like, "Oh, she's hot as fuck." I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like it's just weird that this random stranger, this is like what she was thinking of me, but you would never know until like you ask.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Huh." I was like, "This is cool." But also, like, who else is thinking this? And do I really want to know? Because I don't know. That's probably way too much ego boosting for me. But yeah, no, but it was a lot of fun. Um, the day of was chill. Like, this guy I'm seeing, like, he came over and cooked.
Nice.
And, I took a page from Toby. And
There you go. Toby,
yes.
Take
rub
all the
off.
pages that you want.
um, I just saw an awesome documentary from Vice about this place in Florida called The Villages. Hell no, I will never step foot in the Villages.
Interesting.
The Villages is, where is it? I want to say it's kind of near Orlando, Central Florida, probably a little bit north.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's weird.
It's a massive 55 and over community that is like solidly red. And it's, I don't know if it's necessarily racist. It's just very conservative, very Republican. Like, I think there were like 4 instances of voter fraud and it was in the Villages and they were trying to vote for like Trump twice or something. Or something
Wow.
like that.
Hilarious.
Yes, I have. Yes, Mark, I have been to Palm Beach Island. That is another area that's just stupid money. So a previous job of mine, this was like my first job in Boca Raton. It was an ad agency, and one of our clients was the Breakers Hotel. Breakers Hotel is a very, very nice, very rich hotel. That's where Sofia Vergara and Joe Magnello, I can't pronounce his Magnello. You know him from Magic Mike, and
Mhm.
he's like been in stuff. That's where they got married, for example. So that's Palm Beach Island. So usually I guess that's Palm Beach Island, but it's also just Palm Beach. But it's technically an island, so yeah, Palm Beach Island, and then there's West Palm Beach, which is you've heard of West Palm Beach. I agree, Boca is the hood compared to Palm Beach Island for sure.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, like if I'm telling you that Boca has stupid money, Palm Beach is just like insane. Like that's the first time I saw a McLaren. But like I've seen Bugattis and Lamborghinis in Boca. I would see Porsches every day, Ferraris like once a week, like in Boca. Like literally almost got arrested for being black. I believe you.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like it was low key scary going into that hotel because I came in, I drove my old ass Honda Accord, and I had to valet the car. So the company like it was our holiday party, and like every year they celebrate their holiday party at the Breakfast Hotel. It's like a free night, free food and everything, free drink. So it was nice, you dressed up, but it was just kind of funny how I had like my little Honda Accord that was just beat up, old, and I just had to valet park the car. And then I was just chilling by the valet, like getting like whatever the shit situated with my date. who's like my best friend, and we hear like this engine, and it sounds so sexy. And that's when the McLaren pulled up, and the guy just kept revving his engine. I was like, oh my god, this is so sexy. Oh my god, like. Next time for story time, I gotcha.
Nice.
And I'm looking at because what you said made me think of something. So I wanted to check where this happened. So this was this year. Wow, I thought this was long. Well, okay, this was 2022, but I did not realize that this was like June, this past June. A guy in Sanford, which I don't know where that is, but apparently it was where Trayvon Martin.
Yes, yeah, that's like Central Florida-ish.
Okay, because it said this is the same neighborhood as the same city as Trayvon Martin. So this teenager, like you may have heard, but there was a guy. I guess he was driving through a neighborhood. The people said they didn't like how he was driving, or there was an altercation. There's some video of the aftermath, but they tried to throw a rock at his head and like shattered the window of the car. There were damage on the car. I don't know. Well, apparently there's a mugshot of the guys who attacked him. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what charges were pressed. I mean, it's still recent, so there probably hasn't even been a full like trial and like verdict. But yeah. So when you said that, Mark, I was like, wait, let me see what neighborhood that happened in. Now it was Sanford, which I don't hear about the same way I would about Boca Raton or the Villages. I mean, the Villages is the really infamous, like super rich, dumb money. Boca Raton, I remember because I think you mentioned it, some time ago last year, like this past year. And I feel like it came up either in the chat, maybe Mark said something about it, maybe it even came up in the Discord, but I definitely heard something about Boca Raton as a really rich area. And West Palm Beach, that's just kind of one of the big, like when I was trying to come to Florida in 2021, like for Miami Carnival, I remember that was one of the big airports where you had like, there was like three things. Of course, you have Miami, you have like Fort Lauderdale, and then you have like West Palm Beach. And so I think I've always just heard of Palm Beach as like a place that was probably really nice. I didn't know it was like dumb money. I thought it was just kind of like a nice, maybe beach resort area. I don't know. To be honest, my perception of everything in Florida is so hard because it's so big and there's so many like different cities and towns even near each other. And so
yeah, Florida's a wild beast of a state because it's like you have super rich, you got country. You got like, like very like, Christian Southern. You also got like hella Northeasterners like from New York and things like that. And then you got like West Coast of Florida, which is a whole mixed bag of stuff too. And then like, I don't know, like it's that's true. Exactly. Florida was built around dumb money. I remember Rocky like posted like a really cool like documentary about like pretty much like the history of Florida. It was like on YouTube, and it was very accurate. It sucks that they didn't really mention like the like the creation of AC, like what's the I can't remember the exact terminology for the AC. It's slipping me. Like it wasn't like the window AC. It was like the centralized. The central AC. But yeah, if you guys ever have the opportunity to learn about Florida, it's a interesting beast. So then like we're close to the Caribbean, so there's a lot of Caribbeans down here. Like we have the biggest population of Caribbeans here in like Miami and Broward County in South Florida in the nation. And we definitely have the biggest Haitian population, I believe. But I just know we have a massive Caribbean population in general. Going around, you had a debate in Boca Raton. Both had like 3 fundraising dinners before the debate. That's true. There are like a lot of like.
Oh, interesting.
Seems like they never show Manson's being destroyed. I don't know if this is what happened with like this past hurricane, because I know that it wrecked West Coast Florida, and there's a lot of rich people over by West Coast, like rich old people, like some in some parts, of course. But sometimes they just have stupid amounts of money that they don't even like really care. But a lot of them, of course, did. I don't know. I didn't really hear much about it, honestly, even though I'm down here. But it's one of those things where it's like, well, you gotta invest more in climate change. I don't know what to tell you. It's a real thing. Like you see this real damage to your home. Yeah. Yeah, it's not fake.
Agreed. It's not Photoshop.
No.
Real life.
I'm
Life
so
changing.
tired of the Photoshop. Oh.
But yeah, West Coast is like their building codes are trash in terms of dealing with hurricanes. When Hurricane Andrew hit south in like Miami in 1992, like it destroyed like Homestead and parts of South Florida really badly. And that's like when all the building codes changed because they were like, yeah, no, we can't do this again. And so, they started building homes with like concrete. They would build the homes and like the roofs and everything in such a way that like it's designed to kind of push the hurricane kind of like away rather than like kind of be sitting and situated. And so like, so Broward, Miami, and Palm Beach are built like have these particular building codes. So like it's just they were just like, yeah, we're not gonna have another Hurricane Andrew. Like we can't deal with that. So it's nice, but West Coast Florida was just like, nah. And Panhandle was like, yeah, we'll ride it out. But I don't know, probably politicians. They like, who the hell knows? People have short memory, short attention spans.
Yeah, those partial residences, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, I think yeah, that was pretty much like my New Year's. It was fun.
Nice.
Yes, very nice.
Yep. They have other homes while they rebuild. Yeah. Very, very, very much true. That's another annoying thing I can't stand about the state because, like, then they want to vote down here while they're up there. I guess they would be down here because it'd be like wintertime, but I don't know. But they want to vote as if like they really live down here. Like, I just want to keep my taxes low and blah blah blah. That's annoying. And then like they pack up the streets too.
Sheesh. That sucks.
Yeah.
They pack up the street. Sorry.
Like so winter, like winter time, like it's just it gets really trafficky. It was really bad during like the height of the pandemic because everybody came down here for freedom, and so it was just like the traffic was insane. Like I would be like, wait, this is like July. Like I was like terrified to see what it would be like in the winter. It's like if it's this packed in July, like I can't even imagine. That was a rough time. But fortunately, I don't really have to commute into work every day, so
There you go.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was too much freedom. They just don't know what to do with all this freedom.
Why can't I hold all these freedoms? Just don't know. I can't hold it.
They're just juggling all the freedoms.
Right.
So much freedom. It's like, yeah, let me buy this giant stilted, giant like truck to hold all my freedoms. I'm sick and tired of that amount of freedom. Oh man, people fucking suck. Fun fact: Miami's the hometown of the most active NFL players right now. It's like around 30. Wait, what do you mean active NFL players? Oh, like okay. So like they live down here, but they don't play down here. You mean?
I can see
Call me
that.
okay. Call me naive, but I thought like you had to play where you live. Like,
Yeah,
well,
actually, I'm trying to process what you're saying too.
like if you're like I don't know, like a LA Rams, I thought you had to live in LA. Or like a New York Jets or New
Oakland
York
Raiders.
Giants. I thought you'd have to like.
Like people from so people whose hometowns are from Miami, but they play for whatever team. It just happens that Miami is like if you took all of the hometowns of active NFL players, Miami would be the number one, like on a scatter plot, not scatter plot. What the heck? Like one of those, distributions. You would have like.
Oh, I get it. Like they're originally from Miami.
Speaking of Miami or Florida, also, what's up, Gil?
Hey.
That is actually interesting. I wonder why that distribution would happen where most of them are from Miami. I mean, it's a big city, sure, but you could argue that there's bigger, and why not more New Yorkers or LA residents who are NFL players?
Sure. I guess it's like I mean there's just like a lot of athletes down here too.
Mm.
Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of tennis players. Serena Williams lives down here.
Mhm.
Other like she was like my friend's neighbor apparently, this other tennis player chick. Can't remember her name's like Sloane or something. Sloane Stevens, I think. I don't know. But she was like my friend's neighbor. A lot of tennis players, a lot of them. Track runners. There's a lot of them down here. There's swimmers. There are, of course, like basketball players, football players.
Mhm.
I guess baseball players. Baseball, yeah. Hockey, because we do have a hockey team. We have the Florida Panthers. Yeah. It is like kind of interesting, like seeing them like on dating apps, though.
What?
Not necessarily like famous. I've never seen like a famous athlete, but I've seen like a guy who's like works for like the Miami Heat. He's not like a a player, but he like works for the Miami Heat.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'd see like hockey players. I don't know if they were like Florida Panthers hockey players. They might have been. I've seen like, minor league baseball players. They come through. Also, it's like, the weather is just great all year round, so that's why it attracts like a lot of athletes. Like even if like you're an athlete and you run for like there's people who run for different countries, especially in the islands, and like but they live here.
Interesting.
Hey Liz, thanks for
Hey,
kicking
what's
back and
going
listening. It's always great to see you. Happy New Year.
New Year, appreciate you.
I was about to tell you, it got me heavy into sports for some reason. It's just day 3.
Interesting.
Hey.
Antonio Brown, he's letting LD. No.
That actually reminds me though. I have a friend of mine. She is a genius, really. Like she's a black woman, got her PhD in nanoscience, nanoengineering. Was going to grad school near where I went to grad school, which is how we met through some like mutual black orgs. Lives in Mass. I will I won't put her out there too much, but like we're good friends and like we don't always see each other very often. It could be many months, but like we keep in touch. And she talked about she like met basketball players who play for like professional teams, not necessarily like a Celtics player, but like I mean she may have met some, but like met other people who travel in like countries foreign. Like one person who was traveling and was in Poland at one point, even right before the Ukraine war broke out, and she was like talking to them, dating them, whatever. And I was like, wow, that is so interesting. And she talked about how like normally she mostly dated engineers like herself, but now she's like, no, I need ball players, football players. Now she says she wants to try to talk to hockey players. He was like, I think I just need it's a different status. It's a different type of life. So I was like, all right, bet, get that hockey, get that hockey money and that.
I don't make that much money.
I don't know, maybe it's just like the type of people you might assume that are a bit more like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a stereotype, right? But like, if you're into hockey, I don't know, rich white family versus if you're basketball, I don't know. Like, I feel like there was just a certain way of like, do you see the people who go to hockey games and who like are in that arena and people who like actually train, like the equipment that you need versus like, I mean, of course you need access to stuff regardless, but it's significantly more if you're playing hockey, the kind of access that you need and the access to the rinks, the equipment, versus ball, like you can kind of do that on the street, on the courts. Of course you want good training, you need more money, but it seemed like football, hockey, and some of those sports, you need more an investment. And I think that's kind of part of where she was coming at. But I think also just like difference in culture. She was like, I don't know, some of these ball players, maybe just it was just interesting interacting with them. But like, yeah, that's in Boston is a big sports town, city of champions, of course. And if you know anything about the Patriots, enough said. But
That's true. That's true.
So it's interesting that like with Florida and Miami, like yeah, there's a lot of people in general who are athletic. Like maybe I don't know if you have as much of the fan craze that Boston and New England has for their teams, but you at least have people who themselves are very active. And you've talked about that, Elle, with people who just in general, that's a hobby. Like if you're dating people or whatever, you're going to the beach, you're looking good, you're running, you're playing whatever. And it makes sense. Take advantage of the weather, be outside. But yeah, I don't know. Just an interesting comparison.
No, you just like, because I was also thinking of like other athletes here, is like soccer. Because when you were saying like she dated someone who was like overseas, I was like, yeah, like I've dated a guy who used to play soccer overseas. Like, I guess he had like come back and was just trying to, have like a normal job and a normal life. But yeah, I've dated a soccer player, I've dated a minor league baseball player, dated a track runner too. I briefly went on a date with like a guy from the UK who played some sport that I can't remember. I think that is all of the athletes. I had the phone number. I hooked up with a guy who plays rugby in Japan when I was in Japan.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, in college, like I, met a guy who went on to play professional football. But yeah, I mean, this is gonna sound weird, but I'm actually like not even like into athletes. Like, this is gonna sound so bad.
That's funny.
Like, yeah, let me just list off all these guys, and I'm like, I'm not even into any of them.
But I'm not into athletes. It's okay. I'm not into athletes, not at all.
Athletes are into me. Okay.
Okay, that's a flex.
It is, honestly. It's sort of, I guess, because I look athletic, so I think that's why. Like, I've always been told I have like an athletic body type, so I think that's why. But no, I am not an athlete. I probably should have been, according to Rocky. Could have made it to the league.
There you
go.
Yeah.
Made it to the freaking league.
Yes. Could have made it to the league. Could have been like a professional track runner or something.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. Or tennis. So they played tennis a little bit. They're trying to create a dynasty.
Listen.
It's true. That's true. That is a thing. Like,
wait.
Like some people, like when you have like an athletic body, people do be saying like, oh, like, oh, if me and you get together, we can have some athletic babies. So it's like, why would I? No.
I have seen Rocky. Oh no! So they're starting the year off with the joke.
I saw it, Rocky. I saw it. It was a good joke. It was a good joke.
I have such a great joke that gosh, it's for
Yep,
later. But
say it.
well, but there was something that I was thinking with the TikTok. So there's a TikTok I saw. So the person I saw was using another person's sound, but funny enough, they were both white. The woman who originally made the sound was a white woman, probably in her 20s, but like she was over 6 foot. And so she was saying something like, yeah, you guys might want someone who's a little short and whatever. But when your kid like comes out and they're like, like either you have like I don't know, she said like you have some person instead of like a LeBron and your kids like on the chess team instead of on the basketball team. Don't be mad that you decided to sleep with like a 5'4" something or other. And it was kind of funny though. There's a lot of people chiming in the comments who are like also tall, women. It's funny because a lot of them were like white and blonde, but they were making the joke that like, you could have an athlete if you decide to sleep with me instead of these other girls. And I mean, that was a while ago because I really haven't been on TikTok like that. So I probably saw that in 2021.
That's
And
funny.
I have no idea who it was. I probably saved it somewhere in one of my saved video collections, but I deleted TikTok off my phone. And it is what it is. But you look like you were gonna say something to that.
That makes a little bit more sense because, like, I mean, I'm not very tall, but I'm taller than average. Like, I'm 5'7". I don't know how tall like my grandfather was. He was probably like 6'1", 6'2" or something. But I mean, that's the height thing has never been like anything I really care about. Like a lot of women, of course, like I'm sure this is a surprise to no one. Women will be like, oh, I want a guy who's at least over 6 feet, blah blah blah, especially on dating apps. It's like I've never really cared. I just would like a guy who's taller than me, preferably. Like I would date someone who is shorter. Like I'm not like, against that, but usually like the guys I would, talk to or date were like kind of around my height. Like I'm 5'7". Dated guys who would be like 5'9", 5'10". Yeah. In fact, the guy I'm like currently seeing, like he's probably like the tallest I've dated. It was kind of weird. He's 6'3".
Okay.
My dad was a middling height Italian guy with a mustache. Me and my brother are both. Okay, Chad, with the height.
Hey.
You got the
Okay,
mustache.
interesting. I couldn't actually gauge your height, Chad. Like,
Right? Yeah, that's
I thought you were a little shorter. Not like anything. That's not like any kind of diss. I just thought you might have been like 5'8" or something. I don't know. It's so hard to tell on social media.
It's true, yeah.
Even Rocky, who I've like seen. I mean, Chad's been on the stream too, like Rocky. But I've also seen Rocky when back when Mia Dunford and them were doing the Humanity Roundtable. I would see video, but everyone's sitting down, so I'm like, I can't really tell how tall anyone actually is. And even like Ron, I think when you guys were at the wedding, right? And I think LU commented like, Ron was a little taller, like you might have imagined. And in my head, I think I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, like I don't know. It's so difficult to gauge. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Right, yeah. Okay, so all right, Chad. Tall Italian man.
Living up to his name.
Right.
I love it.
Okay, then you're actually my height pretty much exactly because I have been 5'11" for so long. And when I had a physical last year, it was February of last year, the guy said I'm 5'10". I was like, there's no way. I literally was 5'11" my senior year of high school because I played soccer, so I had to do physicals every year. And I was like, I literally was 5'11". So I just say I'm 6 foot because I'm like, I don't get physical. Like when I was in college, it's really bad. But I didn't have a primary care, so I only had my pediatrician because I was still 17 when I was a senior in high school, and I was 17 my first year in college for most of it. So I literally just was, what do you call it? I really literally didn't even. Like, I assumed that I had to be 6 foot because most people keep growing until they're like in their 23, 25 age.
I guess like men, like boys do that.
Say what?
boys do that. He's like, they continue growing to 23, 25. I'm like, boys, males do that. Women stop growing at like probably like 17, 18, 19 on a good, like I grew like once a bit in college and it was so exciting. Like that's how I grew from like 5'6" to 5'7". Like when I heard that, I was like, what? I'm 5'7"? Because I did not want to be 5'6". I felt like that was too short. I wanted to be 5'9".
Oh, so you wanted to be a little taller. Okay.
Yeah, it's the minimum height to be a runway model, at least back in the day. And when you're, when I grew tall very fast, and I was like pretty skinny, especially my senior year. So it's like the women that you see on TV kind of want to be that. So I was like, I want to be a model.
Interesting.
But
yeah, I guess for me, I mean, I don't know how tall I wanted to be, but like, I don't know. I was always just used to being the shortest because the youngest of my family, and now I'm the tallest.
What? Okay.
Well, it's kind of like alphabetical. It's like a chronological order. My oldest sister is the shortest, and then the next sister is taller. My brother, and it's weird because my sister, like the next sister, she was always taller for a girl. Like she's skinny, has like kind of long legs. She ran track, and I always remember her being so tall when I was young. And at some point, I was taller than her. And my brother, he's taller than her, but he's shorter than me. So like he's not like super short, but like I would imagine he's probably 5'9", 5'10". I mean, I'm 5'10" apparently, which I really don't believe that. There's no way. But my spine could have shrunk because I do know I have bad posture, and I know that usually that doesn't happen until you're much older. I thought like middle age, like 40s, 50s, when you kind of notice that shrinkage, maybe 30s. So maybe I've already screwed myself. So now I'm like, what supplements can I take that will like stretch my spine out? Oh, Ron, you had that issue too. And I have scoliosis in my family. Like I think my sister, someone had scoliosis. I never was diagnosed with it, but I do know it was something that existed. And I always was just terrible with my posture and all that stuff. And even now, like I'm trying to be more mindful of it, but it's really hard. Working from home, I'm sure didn't help at all. Even when I was working in the office, I don't know how good I was with it, but working from home definitely would have destroyed it. And Lord knows. So
just stretching to get a little taller.
Did you say you're 5? Oh yeah, stretching to get taller. Did you say you're 5'1"?
Oh, Rocky? 5'1", but my siblings are all spread out and high from 4'11" to 6. What? How many siblings do you have, if you don't mind me asking? I have a cousin who.
That's a good. Yeah. That's a really deep. Like I don't know if like even my oldest sister. I haven't asked her how tall she is, but I'd imagine she's 5'4"ish. Because she's not that short. Because my mom is the shortest in our family. She might actually be like 5'3" or 5'2", but like my oldest sister. So for me, I'm trying to even think about people in my life who are that short. Like I definitely know shorter people, but I don't know. It'd be weird for me to ask like, how tall are you? Like, or how short are you?
Not really. Just say, what's your height?
Curious.
How tall are you? Yeah. Okay. So this is nice. We're getting to know each other. We're getting to know each other's heights.
Yeah. Rocky.
Right.
Yeah, when you said 5'1", I really imagine. I was like, I thought Rocky for sure was like in that 5, like at least 5'8", 5'10". I don't know. I don't know if I imagine if he was 6 foot or over. It's hard to tell again. You only see people sitting down. Right. And I don't really have pictures. Even if you have social media, I'm so bad with social media that I wouldn't see new updates that well.
Yeah, I would have never guessed Chad was 6'2". I remember he had a Twitter profile picture of like his whole self. He was like wearing a suit. And like it just never like occurred to me that he was like quite tall. I guess, and this is gonna sound bad, but like this Italian guy that how do I know to describe him in my friend, my Italian guy friend.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a friend. Yeah, well, that's good. Like he's like 5'9". So this is gonna sound bad. But I'm like, they're all 5'9", 5'10".
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no, to Toby's point, um for the longest time, I especially when I was growing up, went into the doctors, I was like 5'10" and like a quarter. Just pushing that 5'11" streak. I'm like, yes, like if I could be 6 foot, that'd be great. I'll be happy. I think I might have I scraped 5'11" for what it seemed like never, because when you talk about bad posture and this, that, and the third, yes, because I scraped 5'11" and then I went back down to 5'10" for like a good little bit, and somewhere between me hitting 5'10" and me being 5'9" and some change, I'm like, that sucks. I was feeling myself being a little bit taller than, or at least as tall as the majority of my brothers. Both my brothers, they're 6 foot.
Okay.
And again, they're both older than me. No, not older than me. They're both younger than me. Let me take that back. They're taller than me, but younger than me. But my dad, he's like 6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
Mhm.
And my mom, she's like 5'10", 5'11", and I could basically look at her in her eyes. It wasn't so for me, I'm kind of like, okay, so am I really 5'9", or am I like in that 5'10", 5'11" range still? So I don't know, but yeah. And then again, I've always felt as though like I feel shorter than what I am, because in comparison to like most guys, they're like at least 6 foot on up. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just a short midget for a guy. It's like, okay, I'll take it.
I did notice, like in Michigan, like the guys were taller.
Oh yeah.
In South Florida, like guys are definitely like quite short here.
Interesting.
So I guess like
Oh,
when
yeah.
I saw you, I was just like, oh, he's tall. That's tall to me.
Hey, there you go. If it's tall to you, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it in a heartbeat. Like, okay, cool, great.
Yeah.
I'm running with it. I am definitely running with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Elle,
Yes, Ron.
would you like to do us the honors of introducing our topic?
Absolutely. So,
Creative.
this growth spurt. Have to be critical.
Yes, Rocky. Yes, junior year. Yes, I agree. Yes.
It'd be like that.
I feel like we definitely got to talk about, I guess, like, especially like in terms of like relationships, like height with men, and just the bullshit that comes along with it. Because I know that men who are shorter tend to not get paid as much. Than taller men. Taller men tend to get like promoted over, and like I guess like they're just seen as more like demanding of respect, taller men than shorter men. Shorter men get pushed around a lot. It's really bad. It's as if they're not like a whole person, like, or like a serious person to really be taken, like a person to be taken serious. Like I've seen it. It's bad. It's bad. Like that shit could really break you. And that kind of goes into our topic when it comes to setting boundaries.
Yes.
I've been like we're trying to, like for the topic for this month is essentially like like health, and just kind of more so like in the mental emotional space. instead of always just talking about like in the physical space, even though that does tie into it. So setting boundaries is something that's very difficult. And I'm sure that we've all been there, whether it's at work, when we may say yes to too many things when we can't take on everything. It could be with family members where like they may take advantage of you in terms of like, I don't know, like watching their kids or just assuming that you're going to just be available for certain things or, being walked over. It's definitely done in relationships. And so I figured that, so we figured that this would be like a great topic, especially, yeah, just to set off the year, just to like I see setting boundaries as like a way to like it's like a shield. It's like a defense mechanism, but like for yourself kind of mentally. Because like if you know that, like a particular person, might talk your ear off and they don't really, and like they kind of drain your energy, you got to set the boundary to be able to like, tell yourself, hey, either you don't answer the phone or set the, like, I'm not going to talk to this person for more than 15 minutes. And things of that nature. You guys and everyone in the chat, like, has there ever been like a time when like you set a boundary and like what are some stories, if you want to share, like times that you like set a boundary and like the difference that it made, whether it was good or bad? I remember one time, like I was thinking about this like right before the stream, that I was still living with my parents. This was like right after college, and it's like a really weird time because like like my niece and nephew, like they were young. They were like, how many years ago was this? Probably like 7-8 years ago. Yeah, so they were young. They were probably like anywhere between like 7 to 10 years old. So like, like they're kids. And like we were watching them, like like my mom, my dad at the time, and like me, like they're over, I guess, like like their mom, my sister were like doing something. I can't remember. So and the kids were like being kids, and at the time I was like in like my early 20s, so it was just right after college. And I'm living with my parents, so clearly I'm not happy. I'm not like really in like the best mental space, and like they, of course, like they wanted to play, but like I didn't really have a choice because like I live with my parents and they were there, and it's like I didn't like I couldn't really do anything. So it was like really annoying. I felt like they weren't listening to me, and it was just like really annoying. Granted, like I wasn't in like the best mental headspace, and it just felt like it was just something that was totally out of my control. So yeah, I don't think my dad was living with me, actually. I can't remember exactly what was even occurring. Sorry, my mind is all over the place. But I think that was the year when like I told myself that I'm just gonna not give any more fucks and just like try to just really stand up for myself and do what I need to do to be happy. So I ended up like talking to my sister and calling her about that, and like she didn't take it too well because this was like kind of like later, because it took me, because like I was feeling the effects of just feeling disrespected because I felt like I wasn't really being heard or respected because like I'm a young aunt. I was like 22, 23 or something. So it's like, it's hard to like, and I'm living with my parents. So it's like, I have like, it's like, it's nothing I could really like say or do. So, my sister didn't take it too well, but like she did end up like talking to, the kids, and the things did change, but it was just, I was like initially like just like really reluctant to talk to my sister, because like my sister can get very like defensive, and I mean, which is understandable, like every parent is defensive of their children. And so it's like, yeah, like I get it. It was just like I was essentially just saying I wanted my voice to be heard, and it was great. So that was just something that kind of just came to mind, because like I just remember being like so reluctant, because I just felt like, because there's like there might be like certain people in your life where you feel like you just can't say anything to. I feel like a lot of the times it's just family. At least that's how it is for me, where it's just like, well, what can I say to them? They're just gonna, I'm the chill, down to earth, cool sister, cool auntie, or cool niece, and nothing bothers me. But shit does bother me, like, of course. But like you have to voice it out so people can know. Otherwise, they're just gonna continue doing the same things. So I won't lie, like I felt kind of bad, because like next time like they would come over and I would say something, they got really sad, and I'm like, okay. But like shit, like they heard me. At least I was being respected, which is what I needed as an adult. Like I am not a kid, like I am an adult. I may have been a young adult, I may have been like 22, 23 or whatever, but I am still an adult. And my voice needs to be heard. Doesn't matter if I sound monotone. Doesn't matter if I'm not like shouting. Doesn't matter if I'm not, doing these things. I don't like to just like, get that angry or show that much like emotion. I'm usually pretty subdued and pretty like controlled. But like I don't really want to like raise my voice just so you can hear me. It's like, hey, when I say stop, you stop. You respect me. I'm an adult. I'm your aunt. So I did feel bad. It was like kind of weird, because it was like my first time kind of having like power. Because remember, I'm also like the youngest of 7. So it was like, this is so weird to actually kind of like wield this power. Did I take advantage of it? No, because like what the hell could I even have done with it? But it was just nice to be able to like set that boundary, let it be known that, them running in and out of my room wasn't cool. It was like, yeah, it's my room, it's not my home. Like it's whatever, but like this is my space, and my space deserves to be respected. So it was nice. It was hard, but it was nice. Sorry, Rocky, are we talking about setting boundaries with anyone or with family specific? Anyone. It could be, yeah, it could be like your neighbor. It could be even a boundary within yourself if you have that. Coworkers. Yeah, anyone. It doesn't have to be family specifically. Our lines is all lines in what I allow people to do or say to me, even for myself. Like I don't say yes to everything, and even black. Good. Absolutely go. You definitely need to black out certain days and times for yourself, and like for you, and also for you and your wife. That's incredibly important, because people will walk all over that and like take advantage of that, especially like in your field of work, Gil. Like some of the stories he's told me. When my fiance and I first got together, we would see each other every other weekend. The beginning of our relationship kind of overwhelmed, and we both wanted to leave weekends for friends. Huh. Let me see. Relationships have to change over time. People get older, boundaries change with them, and that creates friction. That's very true, Chad.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Okay, so they can't. So Rocky, they can't come to your house without announcing it. That's good.
That's actually a really big one.
Mm.
Because for me, I've never had my own house, right? And I live out of state in my apartment, so it's not like I'm gonna get a drop and visit. Like, But if you are locally, right, where your family is, right, and Ron, I know you could probably relate. You talked about kind of how you and you are having the whole like open marriage kind of thing, and like at some point you move back to your family, and like you had to have those considerations. But like even outside of that, it's like, what if family just wants to drop in on either side, and like what does that look like? So that's an interesting
Ooh.
point, Rocky.
But you had, Ron. I'm guessing you had, of course, like rules, like with your open relation when you two were open. Like I've been with a guy who's in an open relationship. I mean, granted, he lives in a different state, so one of the rules was like no sex in his partner's bed. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, just this topic in general. I got stories. I got stories upon stories. I think just to kind of go back, even when we did have like that short open relationship, and again we set bound we oh yeah we set boundaries, and one of the things was if we did find somebody like um one, not bring it home because home is home,
For sure, for sure.
and then two, like don't want to know about it, don't want to know about it
Mm,
because the one thing we didn't want to do was bring in anything negative into the household. That's going to cause frictions. It's going to cause a lot of mistrust, this, that, and the third. But to at least keep the lines of communication open. Now, when we came back home, that turned into a whole different thing because then it was like, okay, now we got to set boundaries with family. And it was like, yeah, yes, we're home, and yes, you're more than welcome to come over. But before you just, come knocking on the front door, make sure that one, we're home, and two, we want people to be here, you know, and that was a huge thing. And so I know for a while, my mom, she would just, pop up. I'm like, what are you doing here? Oh, I just want to come say hi. Like, okay, did you call? Did you text? Did you let anybody know who's coming over? No, just want to come over to say hi. Like, ah, okay. Like, well, what if me and Zipporah, what if we were gone? What if we were, planning on taking a drive? What if we wanted to do this at the third? Oh, well, didn't occur. Like, yeah, understand. I'm not like no snot nosed little brat. Like, I have a
mm,
whole entire family. I have a whole entire responsibility, and they come first. Like, sure, you're my mom. I get that, but you're not my responsibility. I'm not your responsibility anymore.
mm,
That's here. And so it kind of took it a while. And even then, whenever we go to like my family's like family functions on my side of the family, it's kind of hard because they always see me as just like this little kid. I'm like, I'm not a little kid anymore. Like,
right.
I'm
Yeah.
grown, like grown. Like I like some of your kids, like I remember they were in diapers, like almost literally, and seeing each child grow up literally. So it's like, yeah, I'm grown. Like,
Yeah.
respect that. I'm grown. And even then, a lot of especially my aunts are like, "Oh, we're so sorry." We tend to forget that you have a whole family and you're married and you have kids and this, that, and the third. Like we tend to forget that because we're so used to you being this little kid. I'm like, yeah, no, grew up, you know, kind of quick, kind of slow, but yes, I grew up a lot and I learned a lot and I've
Hmm.
dealt with a lot and I've been through a lot. And so a lot of the things that I've grown up with and dealt with, it forced me to learn how to be very much independent. very much independent. And a lot of them, they're kind of like, oh, really? Like, yeah. Like, if I don't need help, I'm not going to ask it. But if I do need help, I will ask it. But just don't think that because I'm asking for help, you should take full advantage of it, which is one of the things I've had to break down to my mom quite a few times. And so I got to the point where I was like, you know what, Mom? Like, listen, if you are going to ask if we need help, okay. And if I say that we need help, just know that we need help. But don't take it as if we're always in need. It's like, no, you are grandma. And we're going to tap into the grandma side of you because that's who you are. It's not the fact that we can't do it. It's like, no, you're grandma. You are more than able. You are more than capable. If you want to help out with whatever for the kids, go for it. But don't use that against us for any old kind of thing. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to slide, because if that continues on, I'm going to tell you, no, you are not welcome to help. You are not welcome to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that. Oh, yes, I can. No, you can't. Oh, yes, I can. But why? I'm their dad, for one. And for two, I'm responsible for them. And for three, technically, I don't have to ask you for anything. If I could do it on my own, I will.
True.
Well, that means you're prideful. No.
Uh-oh. You just froze, Ron. I hope it's not me. Nope, else good. So Ron just froze.
Yeah, I was just getting some water. No, but like Ron brings up an excellent point when he was talking about how his family still sees him as like this little kid. And it's like, it's not his problem that they see him like that. He can't control how they like what does he have to do to make them see him as like, you know, like a whole ass adult, you know, like a whole ass grown man. Like he has kids, you know, like I feel like that's an automatic grown. Like if you have a child, you're just automatically grown. Like you gotta like really start taking this person seriously now. But like, yeah, like it's just like I have this issue with my mom as well. Like she listens to my podcast and she also, you know, also watches the Melanated Council. Hey mom, if you're watching.
Oh, snap.
So but she really gets on me about my cursing. Like she's like, yeah, you know, I feel like you curse too much. Like she's probably gonna kill me for saying this. Cause she's always saying like, oh, like they're not gonna tell you if you curse a lot. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I might curse a lot, but this is who I am, Mom. Like, I don't know. This is who I am. But she thinks I curse a lot on my podcast. She thinks I curse a lot here. And she's like, yeah, I feel like the other guys, like when you curse, it makes them uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't think so.
I'm cringing. I'm actually just silently cringing. No.
And like, you know, but she always says that like the cursing doesn't look like me. But it's, you know, it's most likely because like, hey, I'm her youngest daughter. I'm her baby. Of course, I'm not cursing a whole bunch in front of my mom when I'm with her, you know, or when I'm on the phone with her. Occasionally I do, I feel. But I don't know. Sometimes it bothers her. Sometimes she really notices it. Sometimes she doesn't. So it's like just another thing to be for me to be self-conscious about. It's like, oh no, do people think I'm like this sweet little innocent girl with a, you know, with a sailor's mouth? I don't know. But you know, whatever. I could try cursing less, but if I feel like it, you know, needs like some, like, you know, like some emphasis, then I'll curse. But yeah, it was just kind of weird because like now you start to get like a little bit self-conscious. But I was telling my mom, it's like, Mom, the reason why you think I curse a lot and it doesn't look like me is because you still see me as like a child. And I can't do anything about that. I'd be like, Mom, that's a you problem. That's a you problem, Mom. Like I can't do anything about it. It's like she's touching one part of the elephant, it's the front part. Other people experience the back part of the elephant. What? I think I must have missed something. Oh, Chad's allergic to compliments. They got Ron. Both me and my wife's family sees us as kids because we have none. Even though y'all are like, yeah, I guess like some people just always see people like older people always see like younger people as kids. Like I was at the gym last night and like this older man, thought I was like 22, 23. And I was just like, well, for one, thank you. And then I told him my age, and he was like, "Oh, I have a son, around your age. You're such a beautiful girl. I'm always thinking about, I'm such a dad trying to look out for my son." I was like, "Okay."
Oh boy.
I mean, I was like, "You didn't show me any pictures of the sun. Maybe the sun was hot as hell. I don't know." I was kind of curious. The blind people touching an elephant metaphor stretched to confusion. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was like the elephant in the room.
No, so I get what he said. I missed that because I didn't see the whole. As I was touching a part of the elephant, I was like, "What?" It's like you have a bunch of blind people who are touching part of an elephant. Someone's like, "Oh, I'm touching like a lamppost or like a tree trunk," and another person's like, "No, this is clearly they're touching like the trunk." So it's like this must be, I don't know, a garden hose. And someone else touches another part. I don't know how many parts you can really touch at that point, but it's just kind of the idea of perspective.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Boundaries.
Interesting. Some of my extended fam still see me as a child. I'm like, cool, but don't come asking for adult favors. Don't ask for money. They ask to come stay and ask for the. Hey, I dig it. What if the sun was Andrew Tate?
Oh, that's so interesting. What you said, Rocky.
Yeah.
Come to Jesus means my partners about crossing boundaries on social. Wait, so you're okay? And I missed the thing you said, Rocky, about major boundaries on my privacy with partners. First, just reading it now, I assumed you were going to be talking about like your family is doing too much prying with your partners, but I think, are you actually talking about like you've had to have like confrontations with your partners and they kind of like are snooping on your social media, maybe looking at your friends, which is hilarious if that's the case, because my good friend who I mentioned is married. Like she was talking to me about a whole, like, I won't go all into details, but she had a really good friend, and that friend became married, and the wife was just, there was a lot of weird behavior with them and the kind of friend group of my friends, like, the man who was married, because my friend's, a woman, she had a guy best friend, and I guess the guy's wife was not a fan of like him having so many friendships with people, and there's just all these weird things, and so that can be problematic if like your spouse or your partner is like really crossing boundaries with your friends and social media. And so I'm just kind of curious on Rocky what that kind of come to Jesus moment was, but I'm also catching up on some other things in the chat.
Yeah, no, like crazy women like are crazy. like I don't know, just like the bullshit that I've dealt with, because I always have like a lot of guy friends, and then like I hate it when like I'm talking to like my guy friend about some kind of series, and then like his girl that he's never mentioned, even if I ask like, "Oh, is that your girl?" Like never mentioned, DMs me about some shit, and it's like, you're not like, is like trying to like defend him or like answer the question for it. It's like, no, I asked, I guess your boyfriend, who is a grown ass man capable of answering and talking for himself. So like it's, I don't know, like it just like fucks everything up. If there's one thing that I, really do appreciate from like, like the polyamory community, people, open relationships, non-monogamous, is like definitely just like communication, because that's like a massive thing, and because like you have to talk about literally everything, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and it's just so weird when like you're talking to, what you believed was a grown adult, but apparently like they need a woman to just speak for them and take care of them, and it's like this is weird. So I've like ended friendships or just whatever ships with guys because of that. It's like, yeah, if you like if you're still on like if you're like if you're over like the age of like 30 and like you're still like trying to date girls who are like that, it's like, no, there's something like there's something massively wrong with you. Like, but hey,
Like dating people who are dating girls who are like that kind of controlling sort of, or
yeah,
like that
like
kind of like trying to
crazy.
like.
Yeah, because like either they go after those crazy girls or they turn girls crazy. Like there are guys like when like a guy who's like, oh, all my ex girlfriends are crazy. It's because he turns them crazy. He drives them crazy. Is it 100% of the time? No. Is it a lot of times? Yes. Like I've definitely dated a guy who was driving me crazy. I'm like, oh, this is what he wants. Yeah, no. He doesn't know that that's what he wants, but that's what he is creating.
So what? How is that?
Like,
This?
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, say it.
So I was like, I'm kind of curious on like what that is like. Like I've heard kind of that perspective of like, yeah, like women would be kind of like nice and sweet and something until guys will do things that will drive them crazy or make them like get aggravated. So in that case, I guess what kind of things might he have been doing? I don't know if it's a trend, if it's like a lot of similar things you've seen guys do or you've heard guys do that can drive someone crazy who normally would not have been that way.
Yeah, this was like fortunately this has pretty much like been like the only guy. And it was like, just like not responding to me, not like 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 you like make yourself kind of question yourself. It's like, am I pestering him? It's like, or if we're not dating, why can't I just talk to him? Why can't I just like calling, no response, no no messaging back, being like, hey, is everything like nothing, like no response, like not responding to like not contacting me on like my birthday, and in a way trying to make it seem like it's my fault and some, or like just being like manipulative, controlling, trying to make you feel crazy. Because for one, every human being, at least in this country, has heard like, oh, women are crazy, she's being a nag. Like we have like these stereotypes. So it's almost like men can kind of wield that power. Like women, I would say like can wield like the stereotypical power of like, oh, all men want sex. So if you're like dating a guy who may not be like, who may not have like the same sex drive as you, you might be like, oh, this man is broken, or like, or it could be like, oh, this man, there's like must be something wrong with him, or blah. He might just be depressed. He may just have a lower sex drive. It could be like a million things. It doesn't necessarily mean like there's something wrong with it. Like it's not like that's like there could be something that's bothering him. There could be something wrong in his life, but it's not like he himself is wrong. There's nothing. So like on the flip side, with like men just being like, oh, women are just crazy. Like I'm sure you've had guy friends and you had that conversation was like, oh yeah, that girl I was dating, no, she was crazy. maybe your friend's a piece of shit when he's when, like you've never dated your guy friend, have you? No. So you never know how he is when he's like when you're dating him. When when how he is in a relationship or just dating. Like he could just be a piece of shit. So do I think that there are some women who are like crazy because of just, like insecurities and anxieties and things like that? Of course. I mean, yeah, like that could like drive you to just kind of, be like extra because you're just like, it could just be due to insecurities. Men do the same thing. But there are definitely men who kind of know, like, I don't know if like they're super cognizant or conscious of doing it, but like they might just fall into a pattern of just treating women like shit or just thinking that they're asking way too much of them because they're just asking one thing. And it's like, oh, this is one too many. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought, giving you a week to call me back was reasonable, or like,
Come on.
or, like, 2 days to text me back was reasonable. But like, like things like that. Like, like when you're when you're younger, you don't know anything. Like when you're like in your early mid-20s. That's why sadly enough a lot of older men like to date younger women because it's just like they're still kind of easy to manipulate and kind of stupid. So it's like they sort of understand and know the game a lot more because they're older and more experienced. So like they just like wouldn't kind of know how to like control a woman. I feel like younger guys don't really know, but like they kind of just fall into it because they just don't really know how to express themselves, or they're dealing with a lot of things or feel like they're dealing with a lot of things. They feel like they can't talk to anybody and they don't want to like quote unquote burden this woman, so they just rather not talk to her. And then that just kind of makes us just try to like wondering like, what the hell's going on, sort of thing. And then some guys, I'm sure, kind of figure it out. It's like, I don't know, this is what girls like. Girls like bad boys. Girls like it when guys treat them like shit. It's like, I feel like it's more like a psychological thing. It's not like we necessarily like that. It's just, it's something, it's like it works. And just because something is working doesn't mean like it works, So yeah, that's just like my 2 cents. I hope you're not gonna like use what I said for evil, Toby. But but like, yeah, like I've, it was just kind of like, and I don't want to like just like promote my podcast, but like I did talk about this guy a bit in episode 7. I think it was post-college friendships or something. Post-college relationships. It was the same guy. About like how he just, it was like very obvious he was trying to control me, and I just can't be controlled. But I can see, I don't know if it was because I had just like met like a really great guy, like another guy, or if it was just because I don't know, like my cousin had passed. I don't know what it is, but like I could definitely, I'm sure there were definitely factors in my life that if like events in my life that if my cousin hadn't passed away and if I didn't meet like this particular guy who I'm still like I'm still friends with, who was like a way better date and just a way better man than the guy I was dating, like the shitty guy that I was dating. Like I could definitely like see myself still like in like a shitty situation with a guy. Like it's scary to think, so I'm like very appreciative that I am not in that situation, like in that mental state. But it's definitely something that can that can easily happen with like with any gender, Like I have, guy friends who've been in abusive relationships with women, like emotionally abusive. And it's just it's just like a sad, state of affairs where but like my parents weren't really in the best relationship, so like if I see men who have like traits of my father, I'm like, no, I dip right the fuck out of there. Like most people will be like, oh, you're just like your father. If I'm like, yo, you're just like my father, like, no. It's like, no. It's like, I'd be like, I see. I'm putting two and two together. It's like, yeah, no. Because if there's one thing that I did learn, it's like, and I say this time and time again, some people are just shitty. Like, just nothing more, nothing less, just shitty. And like the shitty guy that I was dating, like we still follow each other on Twitter. Like I thought I got rid of him on everything, or he got rid of me on certain things too. But like one day he just like came up on my Twitter. I was like, I don't even like whatever. Like, I was like, it was like years later. I was like, whatever.
Unbothered.
Yeah, and it was just it's sort of reassuring just to see, because like the shit that he tweets or like talks about, I was like, oh, you're still on that bullshit. Like, and it's just like kind of refresh. Like I feel bad for any woman that dates him, but like it's sort of like refreshing to think that like I'm not saying like I feel like I missed out or like, oh, I could have fixed him. Like no, I've back in high school I fixed this one guy. He's doing pretty well, but like
okay.
Yeah, usually like I'm the only woman I know who's actually successfully fixed a guy. But that took like a lot of work, and I was like, nope, never again. So
Bobette the builder, or Bobisha the builder out here under construction.
Roberta the builder.
Okay, I like that. That's good. I was trying to find
but like I just so I guess that's like my boundaries. If I see someone who's like my dad or like has like traits of just like it's mainly like things where it's just like there's no give. I'm not saying that like everything I have to say must go, but like if I'm suggesting something and it's not like that big of a deal. It's like, oh, let's go see like this movie, let's go try out this thing. And if you're like just like, well, why? Or blah blah blah, or just like being like, no, let's do this other thing, and it's like every time. It's like, no. Or like if there's like no give, if there's like no reciprocation of just understanding, if there's no like actual caring, it's just not worth it. You complete the quest that all others have failed at, pretty much. Like it's weird. It's very weird having conversations with women who are like, but I think I can fix him. It's like, nope, if you feel like you gotta fix something, maybe because I fix shit as a living as my career, like fixing code and things like that. It's like I can't afford to fix a whole human being. Like, I don't like, and not get paid. Like, no.
Agreed.
I would fix men if I get paid for sure. I could do that. I'll be like a YouTuber or something, influencer. Yeah, I'd do that.
Shoot.
But for free, like some guy I'm dating, no.
That's actually might be onto something there.
Yeah. But no, like if I feel like I gotta like fix you, if you come out all broken, it's like no, because I'm already trying to just like work on myself. Like I'm like to like work on you too. It's like, oh god. That's like trying to fix your own car so you can go driving, and then some other car pulls up and it's like, hey, can you fix mine too? It's like, no. Like, go fix your own car. Caesar Milan of men. Caesar Milan.
Interesting. I don't think that'll help.
Yeah, please explain your reference, Chad. But I think I can fix him. How about you fix yourself first, then think about exactly. Exactly, Rocky. Very true. Hmm.
I heard a man say that about a woman. That is interesting. I mean, I
Yeah.
know. Well, okay, no, I guess that's actually the opposite because there's that term, right, or that phrase where it's like you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. So if anything, they're kind of alluding that you can't fix the woman, or maybe that's what people do say, like I'm gonna wife her up or I'm gonna train her or groom. Good lord, but that might not be necessarily trying to fix. That could just be like you just want them in your image or want them to be whatever. That's actually a good point. I don't know if people explicitly talk about wanting to fix a woman.
I do know that like there are men who like kind of go after quote unquote broken women or like I not necessarily to fix her, but like just to, like but because she was broken sort of thing. I guess it's like going after a woman who has daddy issues. Which like if you really think about it, it's so fucking gross. It's like, oh, she had problems with her father, you know, she has like these emotional stabilities. Sex is gonna be amazing. Like, how the fuck do you think about that?
It was like the cooch is gonna be like what?
Like that's so fucked up if you think about it. It's so messed up. It's like
What was it? He's like, I bet she'll call me daddy. Like, I don't know what the mindset is going on. I don't know what the mindset going on there is. I don't even ask honestly. Like when it comes to like people who had bad relationships with their fathers, like I've heard some people who've told me very voluntarily, people who I've like, not necessarily talked to, maybe people who I just like me and my friends who got really close to in the last few years, but with never like an intentional. Oh, I bet she's gonna really want to be D down now. Like I'm a dick. Like no, that's that is really crazy. Like it reminds me of that song. I mean that's not quite as deep, but like the really popular song One Direction with like she doesn't know she's beautiful. That's what makes you beautiful, whatever the song is called. But it's like she's insecure, and it's kind of like, wait, you're going after her because she's insecure, and then she doesn't know she's beautiful. I mean, that maybe they're trying to make it more wholesome of like, oh, she's so humble, she doesn't know, and I want to show her, versus say I'm going to take advantage of her and like do all these terrible manipulative things, but it still can be a bit like, I don't know.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I won't lie, I do kind of like guys who like are hot, but they don't really know it, kind of thing. Because I mean, it's not like every guy who's hot and knows it has like a massive ego and is a dick or anything, but I guess it's just like they seem to be like a little bit more humble. Like, but I'm trying to think if I know like a guy who's like hot and is like humble. I mean, I've never met, you know, Tad the lawyer in real life, but it seems like he knows he's attractive. But like the few times I've like talked to him, like you know, like they're like DMs on Instagram and stuff like that, he does actually seem very humble. So I'm not saying like they don't exist, but I guess it's just like that intimidation. I was talking to like some of my girlfriends, and one of them mentioned how like whenever she sees a guy and there's like something that seems to be like kind of like wrong with him, like he's not like super gorgeous or like he looks like there might be like something wrong with him, like he might dress bad or something. I don't know, but she says that she kind of likes that because it's like, oh, there's something like slightly wrong with him. Like I have like a better chance. Like, and my other gal friend like agreed, and I just think like the complete opposite. I was like, no, like he's got to, you know, he's got to look like. I'm not saying he's got to look perfect, but he's got to look like he's actually like, I don't know, trying. Like I was telling them, like I don't mind being like being the hottest couple in the room. Some women find that to be intimidating. I was like, nope. Like if I'm hot, he's got to be hot too. So, like, I'm not saying he has to be like a 12 out of 10 or anything, but you know, he's got to like, you know, dress well, hold himself well, and you know. But I don't know, to have like I don't know, be with a guy who's like, I feel like there's something wrong with him. It's like, that just sounds. First of all, we're all imperfect anyway, so there's going to be something wrong.
Right.
But just like, there's gonna be something wrong with me. But
Never.
like
Nice.
okay, smooth operator.
Mhm.
But like I'm not really like looking for that. Like, if he has like a hot body, like that's great. I'm not gonna, be like, oh, he looks like he doesn't know how to cook and just orders pizza every day. That's my type. Like, no.
My type.
Because that just seems like work. Because I guess like I'm looking for like a partner.
Mhm.
Am I the best cook in the plant on the plant? No, but I do know how to cook. And I'm not like I don't want to like date someone who's just like has like a bunch of frozen dinners and a bunch of like Progresso canned soups. When I was at the grocery store, I think I mentioned this man to y'all like months ago, and I was behind him in the line, and I was like, oh, he must be single because he was like a thin guy, but like he just like ordered, he just had like a bunch of like like oven lasagnas, like frozen lasagnas, and like a bunch of Progresso soups, and like I thought this was like. I was like, when I was looking at what he was ordering, like, ringing up, I was like, that's kind of odd. I was like, oh, he must be single. Oh my God.
I do think you mentioned something like that where you saw someone ringing up stuff and you were like, huh. Like it almost looked like, I don't remember. I mean, maybe this was the story, yeah. Where you were
Yeah.
just like, how can you live off that type of thing? And like
Right.
feed a family with this type of thing.
I'm not dumping on Progresso. Like, it is good. But it was like, but I don't know, Chad. I assume you eat more things. Exactly. He's buying like a divorced man.
Jeez.
What it
Ouch.
That's what it was. That's what it was. But I mean, I get it though. Cooking's hard. Like when you're like, I want like when mom moved out. I mean, like even before she moved in, like like cooking for myself was so like infrequent. And then when she moved in, she was cooking like pretty much every day. Then when she moved out, I was like, oh, it's back to me. But I was seeing a trainer, so like, I was like, I had no choice really, but to like cook healthier meals. But I still need to improve my cooking. I feel because I feel like I'm just like whatever. It's just me. I just season up the salmon and just throw it in the oven, or I just fry it real quick, and make like some kind of like vegetable pasta because there's like vegetable infused pastas like lentil pasta or like veggie. I just make that. Get like the salad things from the grocery store. Call it a day. It's not the worst, but I do want to like up my cooking game though. Some dudes are learning to meal prep and not cook.
I mean, meal prep is such a big thing that I hear about. Well, I don't hear about it all the time now, but like a few years ago, one of my sisters, she would talk about it and like, she would spend her Sundays maybe like listening maybe to like scripture, sermon, and just kind of maybe music and just kind of meal prep, excuse me. And so I thought that was like a pretty big thing that like if you could do it, that's like, like you're getting it made more. But honestly, I don't know. Like I never got into it. Like I never got into like spending a day prepping ingredients and then like saving them for later days. Like that's cool, but I never got into that. I guess Chad, with your thing, do you think that's like a lower level? Like if you learn to meal prep, you don't fully know how to cook. Like you kind of just know how to like prepare, but then you can't actually throw it together. Or I'm just kind of curious.
Hey, get it right.
Some
There was some
candles.
candles. Dude, got some stuff.
Candles is like the standard bearer I always remember from commercials, but Progresso, I feel like I don't know. I've seen more from them. I think like Like Campbell's, I just know they have the tomato soup. They have like the chicken noodle, and I'm like, And I'm not really a fan of the tomato soup. And then chicken noodle's fine, but like Progresso,
It's like a hearty soup.
it's hard.
So,
I
like,
mean, I
it's
had
just not
Progresso a bit. Like I think I had it from like when I got sick with COVID, and then there was a huge snowstorm in January. I bought some Progresso, and I had to cook, and that guy was just like, was it then or was it when I had the flu in April? But there was I think it was January. So I remember having to walk. It was so terrible because I was like, I should not be going outside because I couldn't. It was like right across the street, and I was like, if I try to drive, it's probably not going to work out well for me. Actually, I think I bought it before I had COVID, so I was like, let me go get the stuff from the snowstorm because I think maybe I had COVID the week before, so it was MLK weekend. I had COVID, and I think by the next week there was a huge snowstorm, so I was recovering from COVID, and I walked out like in this terrible like snow across the street, like out of my apartment complex, which is already kind of big, nowhere near as big as my current one. My current one is like almost a mile. Like there's no way I would walk out. But my last one, not that big, but still had to get to like the entrance, walk across the street, get to the not a 7-Eleven, CVS, buy the Progresso and other type of stuff that I could like warm up easily. And I was like, oh, thank God for this because I could not really cook right now. And I couldn't get fresh meat because I couldn't, I'm not going to find that at the CVS really. I don't think. They may have had some type of meat, but it wasn't like they had fresh ground turkey like that. And so I was like, man, this thing is a lifesaver. But when I made it, I don't know. I was just like, okay, yeah, it's not that like it's okay, but it's a little watery. It's it's mediocre. It's average at best, to quote a certain male influencer. No, but like I can't hate it. It's just I cannot like just stock it up. I have my frozen foods. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love like if we have like a food part 2. Like I loved our food conversation, but I realized we didn't talk as much about the actual cooking and prep and sort of palate preferences. But like there are some frozen foods that are always go-tos if I decide I want to stock up on them. Don't play with my microwavable burritos, my El Monterey, and some of my other stuff.
No, I hear you. Yeah, like I'm not.
And I'm not like coming for you, Al. By the way,
I know. I kind of like laid off of like the frozen meals and like the burritos for a bit. I would always get like a lot of those at Trader Joe's. Like sometimes like figuring out what to eat for lunch is like, oh, I have like this Indian frozen meal thing, which was always really good, and like sodium level is actually surprisingly kind of low. But yeah, like to go back to what Chad was saying. I just remembered like about the whole like they cook proteins and vegetables and they eat the same shit. They have shitty tasteless food for working out. Like it's true. Like they tend to like boil the chicken and not really do anything with it. So like the chicken is just really bland. But it's like apparently like the healthiest way to eat the chicken. And I'm like, I get it. Like, but I could understand if you were like a professional bodybuilder. Like you're about to compete. So it's like you can't have a lick of salt type of thing. Because like that little bit of water weight that you'll end up having is just going to throw off your cuts and your muscles. That I can understand. But like I don't think they actually want to be eating that. They're doing it because they're going to compete in like 3 days. So like they have to. But it's just weird when people like follow those recipes. It's like, dude, you're like, it's like you work in like software engineering. Like you're not going to be competing ever. It's
hackathons are serious.
Right. Like you work at Best Buy, my guy. Like, what are you doing? Like you look fine. But I guess like, this is also men's body image issues too, which a lot of men do suffer with. Like I see it at the gym quite often where like you see like the guy who's like really big at the top, but like has little chicken legs. and and you only see them working out like arms and back. And I'm like, dude, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that for like 3 months. Like, just work out on legs. Like,
Yes.
like, you could put arms and back to bed. Like, but it's because of their body image issues, and it's like really sad to see, because it's like they're probably on steroids, they're probably on other things, and it's like they feel like they gotta be this big for I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So Chad is referring to the suit Jomu. So Haitian Independence Day is January 1st, which is also New Year's Day. So shout out to Haiti, the first island in the Caribbean to gain independence.
Woo, woo.
Yeah. So they make the soup. I hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Jomu, I think it's how it's pronounced. I've always wanted to try it. I'm like, yeah, I hear it's like really good, and like they eat it, every January 1st for Haitian Independence Day. Oh, like the Liver King. Exactly. I'm trying to live longer, not spend my life in the gym. No. No. Like it's terrible. Maybe like I guess that's also like a boundary you need to set for yourself. I mean, maybe not. Like, I'm probably just trying to like body image issues. That's something that we definitely need to talk about. That's a whole topic in and of itself, and it's not really talked about amongst men often, or about men rather, in regards because like I feel like men, and this will just be a quick tidbit, but I feel like men seem to be very easily susceptible to this definition of masculinity, and like how they need to like live within this box of what they perceive it to be. So they feel like they probably need to look a certain way, dress a certain way. Apparently, like there's like you can get like your balls tanned. That's like a thing now. Which I don't think.
Okay.
Which I don't think are good for the testicles, because I think the testicles are supposed to be like 2 to 3 degrees cooler than the rest of the body to produce sperm. So I don't know why they're trying to tan the balls. That's like, I don't know. I've never done any science behind this. I haven't done any research, but I've been seeing that and hearing about it. Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, long time.
Long time no see.
Like,
Good.
why?
Happy New Year.
Why? I mean, I get it if it's because of the fact that if everywhere else on your body is tan, then you want the rest of everything. You want your sack to match your skin tone, because if you take everything off and you look like Charlie's Crab from like everywhere else, but you look like Casper the Ghost down below. Okay, maybe I can kind of get that. But if you're just going just to tan it just because you want to tan it, I have some questions. Like, why? What's the purpose? No.
I don't know. You gotta like
science.
You gotta like go to like a nude beach or something to to like do that. Like I see what you're saying, Ron, but there was like literal like machines. Like I've seen this. Like it's like why though?
Why do people gotta what?
Oh, they're trying to increase testosterone to reclaim their manhood, not tan their balls.
That's the Chad. I'm gonna just say it. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I feel like tanning your balls made more sense.
That's dumb. That's like a dumb reason to do that. Like, if you want to increase your testosterone, there's over-the-counter pills you can possibly take. There's food you could possibly eat to increase your testosterone. Heck, for crying out loud, talk to your doctor.
Yes, that
Talk
person.
to your doctor. Say, "Hey, doc, my testosterone. Can you check my testosterone levels? They may be low. They may be
Right,
low."
that's true. That's true. You could just say that.
Why hold on. Why put man-made chemicals on your nutsack to actually destroy your nutsack? To destroy the normal function it's supposed to have? Why? It didn't hold on. What's the possibility you mess around and get skin cancer on your nuts? Now you probably had to get yourself castrated just to get rid of it. Who knows? It's just dumb. Just
It
dumb.
is. But yeah, that's where I saw it, Chad. It was like some Tucker Carlson, like,
Oh my
it was like a
god.
commercial. It was like some weird place for like men to be masculine, and it seemed very gay. But like,
I don't know if that's the right word to say that, because that's not even the right word to say. No. Oh my god.
it
So
seemed like a
weird.
very gay retreat, which it's like, hey, but
I'm done, Chad. I'm done. I think but
salted
oh
roasted.
my gosh. It's not even salted roasted nuts. It's just I don't know. Shrivel? No, it's like a no. Here we go. Like, yes, the best way to make raisins. There you go.
Hmm.
Best way to make raisins. Yeah.
Yeah, factual knowledge, not so much.
Yeah.
So especially I was at a client's house and he showed it to me. Yeah, it was very weird. But like apparently like yeah, I guess it's like a thing. I'm sure it's not like a widespread thing, hopefully not, but it's a thing.
I hope not either.
And if they see a bunch of like manly masculine men on TV doing a thing, then they're gonna go and do the thing.
Do the thing.
Nope.
You see, we can do type thing.
Nope. Ask some questions because that's dumb.
Yeah,
That's like
that's a boundary they need to set. Not
yeah, exactly.
not do the
Exactly.
things.
Exactly. I was like, so you mean to tell me if everybody's running off the cliff pretending that they can fly and they're falling to their deaths, you're gonna jump and do the same thing and fall to your death, flapping your arms, thinking you could fly? Like, it's not gonna happen. At least be smart enough to wear parachutes. Matter of fact, no, I do you one better. Wear a squirrel suit. That's even smarter. So at least you could glide down. At least, and laugh at the dumb nuts who didn't think about the same thing. At the very least. I swear. There's sometimes I am very much angry at my male species. They do some really dumb stuff. Really dumb stuff.
An infrared box in his garage.
Mhm.
What does the infrared box do? It's like a I don't know. I know it's not. Is it like a tanning thing? I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not
Is it?
sure if I heard of this.
Spending all that money doing all this tomfoolery when in reality they would be better off just fighting someone every day. Maybe we need to fight them in reality. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Like
Listen,
it's definitely like a.
Go ahead, El.
Oh, I'm like it is like a healthy thing if you know anyone who's like in like mixed martial arts or anything, because it like teaches them to really like respect like people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. People waste their lives lifting metal up and down to reclaim a manhood they never had. You be on their balls, man.
Mm.
Red light. Oh, red light therapy. Okay. Okay. Okay, both. Like both
Interesting.
testosterone in males.
Hmm. Yeah, that testosterone thing is interesting. Like sometimes I get like interested, like, oh, do I need like a testosterone boost?
That comment right there.
Will help me with women live longer.
That comment right there. Ow. Plus my funny.
Yeah.
Ow. It's not funny.
He literally just said nothing. If Shinobi just had nothing to say.
Oh my goodness. No. But no, like he is absolutely correct. Because I know Mo Chad. But what I was gonna say, I know most women in general, they're not gonna do like stupid stuff. That's not to say, are there women out there in the world who do stupid stuff? Certainly. Certainly. But for the majority, the vast majority, most women, they're like, no, that's stupid. Why in the world would I do that? No, I'm good. I'm finna just do what I've been doing and go from there. But yeah, dude, for some dudes, it's like, oh, really? That's a real thing? Cool. I'm gonna try it out. Hey, Billy, come on, let's do this thing. Like, no, Billy, don't. Please, Billy, be smart.
Like I feel like that's why there's like so many of those like big ass trucks on the road. It's like, oh my god. It's so crazy. It's like because all these men need to like I guess prove something out in these streets. Like I don't know. It's but like but I don't know. Advertising and stuff is actually kind of interesting though. Like how they could really just advertise to like a certain sector of men and just get like millions of dollars. Sadly, the population with the highest testosterone levels is the prison population. That is not close. Is being in such close proximity to so many males and constant. Oh.
I believe that. I believe that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. It makes sense thinking about it, but I never would have thought of it like that.
It's just,
Oh, hey, I have a mid-sized truck. Yeah, I've seen your truck, Gil. It's like pretty normal.
Not overcompensating, not an overcompensating.
No, he's
trick.
Gil's not the type to overcompensate the things. He's like, I got this because I need it. And he utilizes the truck to like its highest potential. Where like these guys get like these massive ass trucks to drive home to their condo and then go to work at a corporate office and maybe go grocery shopping. Like I don't know, like it's like what are they doing with these trucks? Like I don't know. Just scaring people. It's like like everybody around them is just like I really hope they see me in my sedan. I really hope they despite as many dumb things that women have to do for the same goal men are just catching up.
I don't know. I don't know, Rocky. I might have to beg to differ. But then again, here's what I'm gonna do, Rocky. See, I got this cup. I got this cup right here. I'm gonna pour me a big bottle of Shut Up, and I'm gonna drink it.
I have a small truck and a bowl tanner, Gil. I know a small truck and a bowl tanner equates to a mid-sized truck. Get a hybrid, save money. It just sucks that hybrids are like more expensive. But like understandably so, but they do save you money for sure. I'd have loved to have gotten a hybrid, but I just could not have afforded that.
Yeah, I would have loved for my current car to have been one, but that premium, just like between the hybrid and the regular, was just not worth it. And I was like, how much money am I going to save down the line? But then you're paying so much now. Even if you save on gas, that's no. Like, I would love my next car to be one though, especially when car prices come back down.
How did I roast you, Gil? I thought I was complimenting. My bad. Like, I don't think he. Because you don't have a massive truck, like a massive, intimidating, crazy ass truck. Like, you use your truck. You do like your podcasting and like photography and things like that. You do a lot of stuff with your truck. A lot of people just have like these big ass, like these ginormous ass trucks, and they're not doing anything. It's like I can understand if you're like hunting every weekend, coming home with like some big game or like, really moving shit. But some of these trucks, like they have so much like, they don't even have like that big of like a back, like a truck bed anymore. Like all of it, it's like half of it's just like the truck with like the car, like like where people sit, and then they have like a truck bed, and then yeah, it's just I don't know. It is not. They're failing at I don't know making the size conducive to what people need it to be. It really is just like a status symbol at this point for a lot of people. What are you gonna say, Ron? Oh, you're not. You're still drinking your.
Oh no! I had to put my big cup of shut up down because what Rocky is saying. Yeah. because what Rocky is saying is actually a conversation me and the missus we had not too long ago, because we were talking about like how women, especially Black women, how they're almost forced to not necessarily be themselves in a workplace, and especially if more and more Black women are becoming more and more natural, where they almost have to alter their natural look in order for them to fit in corporate society's mode of what a black woman should look like, not necessarily like what they ought to, not necessarily what they look like at face value. And even then, she is like, she's the type of person where she doesn't wear a lot of makeup. She really doesn't. And the fact of the matter of her having to kind of find makeup, eyeshadow, a lot of the things that she doesn't necessarily want to wear in order for her to kind of fit in per se, it's just like it's unnecessary. But like, I get it. I definitely get it. And even still, and again, sure, guys, they're just now playing catch up, and it's like, okay, I get it. There's dudes who are wearing lace fronts because they're balding. Okay, get it. Or they're just doing like I want to say unnatural stuff. They're just doing like weird stuff to kind of like alter themselves in a way for them to be more accepted. Like, you don't have to do this. Oh yeah, Gil. Oh yeah, Gil. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh, lace fronts on the dude? Yes. Yes. Let me tell you, I was scrolling through Instagram, just minding my own business, scrolling through Instagram. And dude, he's bald like from here all the way around. He's bald. And most people who seen me, they know I have waves. The barber cut his hair and like put glue down on his head, and he put a lace front wig on this man's head, and it was wavy, and it blended into his natural hair. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, is this really happening? Like, this dude really just got a lace front. He has a full-fledged lace front, and even then, there's a what's a lace front?
Honestly, it's one of those things that I always heard about, but I can't visualize what it looks like either. So I'm gonna do it real quick.
Okay, so basically, what a lace front is like, and you more so see it in women who do this. Basically, what most women do, yeah. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And so basically, what happens is what most women do, especially black women, they'll braid up their hair, and to protect their hair, they have like a cap that sits on their hair. They have a cap that sits on their hair, and then with the cap, what they do is they sew on like a wig or some kind of hairstyle to protect their hair. But the way how the lace front works, it almost looks as though it's their natural hair when it's really not their natural hair. So the guy that I'm talking about, his basically, like I said, he was basically bald from like here. Like all of this was gone. The size was gone. The size was gone. The only thing he had was like the bottom part of his hair from like here down, and on the back, from the back down too as well. The barber just kind of cut it a little bit here and there. And everything else that was on top, he kind of just took it all off. So he was bald. And so what he ended up doing was he kind of sprayed some adhesive on the head, and he put, in a sense, a synthetic hair on his head, which was wavy. He put that on there. And so once it was laid on, he finished cutting the dude's hair in order for his hair to blend in with the synthetic hair that was on top of his head. And it looked totally natural. Me personally, I was totally pissed because I'm like, dude, no, why? I told the missus, like, listen, if I start going bald and whatnot, I'm cutting my hair off. I will go bald. I will go bald. I don't care. I will go bald, strict bald, because I'm not doing that. No, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Oh yeah, I agree. I agree.
It's not only physical harms, but
I agree.
Yeah. I think you were sorry, I had to, but like I think you were talking about your wife, Ron, about like how she doesn't really like wear much makeup and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like I'm like in a similar boat as well, where you sort of have to, as a woman, like just in society. And I was like thinking about this the other day, how like I feel like we're the only ones who someone will comment about our face if our face looks the same like every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'd get comments from like my mom, and it's always women. I mean, yeah, of course, like I don't think a man would really like say anything, unless like he's just like likes women who wear makeup. There are men like that, but I haven't met any. Maybe because I don't wear makeup, so that's why I haven't really met them. But you know, like it'd be like my mom, my sister's niece, or what have you. It'd be like, oh, how come you don't wear makeup? Oh, you should wear like this. You should, do your eyelashes or do something. I'm like, usually when they see me, I'm like, it's like a family gathering, or I'm just like at like my sister's house, or I'm at my house, or my mom's house. Like I feel like if there's anywhere that I need to go to not wear makeup, would be like a family member's house. I mean, call me crazy, I don't know, but it's just it's just weird growing up and feeling like this is something that I have to do. And then it wasn't until like my therapist, like where I was like saying like, I feel like I gotta like, put on makeup because I'm a woman and I'm not doing that. I'm not, doing what I need to do. And he was like, if you don't want to wear makeup, just don't wear makeup. And I was like, it just seemed so weird to me because I felt like it was just something that I just really had to do. And he was like, no, like, you look fine. Like, like, I don't know if he was just like trying to make me feel better, like gas me up or whatever as a therapist, but he was just like, yeah, you got a face where you don't really need it. I was like, okay. And I started like to really think and, like, I have a lot of friends, like I know a lot of people and all these things about myself where I felt like I had to change, like my voice is pretty monotone. I do think like it's something that I need to at least like slightly, like improve on a little bit more. But, my voice is monotone. I curse a lot. I don't wear makeup. I don't, dress quote unquote super girly. A lot like, I'll wear a dress if, the occasion calls for it. I'll, put on makeup if the occasion calls for it. But I'm not going to like be like this every day when I don't need to be because I don't know. But like society I feel like it kind of calls for like, I do feel weird. And it's only around women, never around men really. It's always around women. Like if I'm not wearing makeup, I feel sometimes I get a little self-conscious. And it's just me thinking what they could possibly be thinking. And it's just because of like how I grew up with like, like my mom and, sisters and somewhat like, like I have, like one of my sisters, she doesn't really wear makeup either. And, she's, like, so she's like, she's acceptive and, she's like very like non-judgmental, I should say. like myself, like at the end of the day, I just want people to be happy and comfortable who they are. But like, I can understand like that thought in your head of like, oh no, what is this person thinking? Am I too old to not wear makeup? Should I wear makeup? Like, I see like myself and I see like stuff on my face and I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting older, blah, blah, blah. But like, I do think it's kind of healthy for people to just see people without makeup. Just to be like, hey, this is a natural face. I'm not out here trying to show it off or, but it's like, this is my face. If I understand why women wear makeup. Like we were taught at a young age to wear makeup. It wasn't necessarily for men. Like girls at 10, 11, 12, 13 aren't really thinking that. They're just like, that's what their mom does. She puts on makeup before going to work. That's what like their older sisters do. That's what like their older aunts and cousins do. So they're taught to put on makeup or, you need to wear makeup. You got to put on your face, which is a phrase that we've all heard. And you're just taught that that's just something you're supposed to do as a woman. It's never really like it wasn't really for like men, but we know it's for other people. Like we're not doing that for yourself. It's like something that it's like the equivalent of just like putting on nice clothes or just putting on clothes. Like you just gotta do this thing in order to present yourself to the people. So that's why when people are like, oh well, she's wearing makeup for men, like that video that Gift Shinobi shared in the Discord with like Kevin Samuels and that other guy. He was like, oh, like the blush means that she's, I don't know, something, and it's something that's like red is an attractive color for men and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I know lesbians who wear makeup. Like, what do you? We were all taught this shit. Like we were
Right.
taught to put on like women were taught like to put on their face before leaving the house.
Mm.
I kind of didn't really need to because I always had like pretty good skin. Like I didn't have like acne in high school or anything, so I always had like pretty good even toned skin. So I was like, fortunate for that. But you know, women's skin tends to be like a little worse than men's. I think at least like the I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Like we were just taught that that's just something that women do. Like you just wear makeup. Like I don't know. So like yeah, some women do put it on for themselves because they look themselves in the mirror. It's like okay, I feel like myself. I feel good. Just like when you do your hair and when you put on a nice outfit.
Mm-hmm. And even to your point, Elle, especially when at the wedding, it was one of those things where it was kind of like okay, because when I saw you met you, I'm like okay, cool, great, and you're like how's my makeup? I'm like wait, you're wearing makeup? Like yeah, I'm like I wouldn't be able to tell any differently because of the fact that I'm like when I equate makeup to a woman, a lot of times women, some women, they overdo it, and you could tell that they're
Yeah.
wearing makeup, and it's just kind of like it's just one of those things. I'm like, mm-mm. But when you had yours on, I'm like, oh, okay. I thought that was just your normal face. I'm like, it looks nice. I couldn't tell the difference.
Thank
You
you.
know, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And even then, you know, just to kind of piggyback around, my daughter, she is interested in wearing, eyeliner and eyeshadow.
Hmm.
And she's at that age where she's 11, she'll be 12 this year, but she's in middle school, and a lot of her friends, they're pretty much doing, the same thing: nails getting done, the eyeshadow, eyeliner, a little mascara, nothing too much to make them look older than what they are, but just enough for them to kind of like feel good about themselves. And it was kind of good to hear her say, like, yes, I want to start learning how to wear just another third. And then, of course, the miss, like, yeah, I'll teach you and everything else. But even then, you know, when she does her own makeup, it's more so like the eyeliner, the eyeshadow, and that's it. And even then, when she does her eyeliner and eyeshadow, it's very tasteful. It's not something where it's just big globs of just color over there. It's like, no, I know, pet peeve, huge pet peeve, but it just looks very tasteful and it's done very professionally. And it's like, cool, go for it. Have at it. And so I do appreciate it when when women, when they wear makeup and anything else. I get it. It's 9 times out of 10, it's for them. I get it. I get it. Sometimes you may not necessarily like the way how you look first thing in the morning, but you put on your makeup and you feel like a totally different woman. Okay, go for it. You knock the world down and you make the world your oyster and your pearl. Have at it. You know, do what you got to do. More power to you. Just know, first date, we're going swimming.
So
First date, we're going swimming. I want to know what you really look like. And even then, even then, I say that jokingly. Say that jokingly. Say that jokingly. But even then, a lot of it is more so. And again, I get it. It's a confidence booster. I get it. I
Mhm.
totally get it, because there may have been times where you may not had the best looking skin in the whole wide world, where you had like pimples all over your face. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand and whatnot. Saying, you've done everything you can to pretty much take care of yourself, to make yourself look presentable. I get it. Do what you got to do. At the end of the day, do what you got to do.
Right.
At the end of the day, do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Now I know, and there's a lot of chatter in the chat, which is great, and I love it. I guess if we were to, because it is close to midnight, I'm thinking about boundaries for me, like anything that I've had to set. It's kind of hard because I'm still here at home, and I know I've talked with friends about this, like the friend who I went to see in DC. And she was even like, you can't, feel like you're a prisoner at home, because she's African too, like she's Ghanaian, but she was born here. I think she grew up in this, Virginia area, but we met in Boston, and so it was kind of like, you can't live at home and feel like you're a prisoner. And I haven't really communicated boundaries in that extent because I'm just here for the holidays anyway. But like, if I really was living at home, let's say when I move out of Boston, because my lease ends April 30th, it's like if I am living here, it's like what kind of boundaries would I have? Especially I would bring my car. So I would have a car. I wouldn't have to ask anyone in that regard. It's just like being out late, like being able to go to places. I'm gonna have to set boundaries on how, I'm talked to or treated, or like people. I mean, of course you have family, you're worried if they're out late, whatever, but are there restrictions to being out at a certain time and coming home? Are there restrictions to going out during the week and hanging? Even now, like when I was trying to mention like, hey, I have some friends of mine who I would like to see. And I mean, I saw one yesterday who I mentioned, my Trinidadian friend, and like she does an after school program that ends at like that starts at around 4:00 or so. And she also mentioned like that she, obviously she's married, so she lives at home with her husband. And so even when I kind of mentioned maybe I'll try to go visit them and stuff, and my mom was like, well, you're not on vacation. Like, you're not on vacation. Like, and I'm like, well, yeah, but it doesn't mean I don't have the leeway to do some things after work, especially if it's a slow work day and I've already put in the day. And I just feel like in general, it's kind of difficult to like go out and do things. And it can be a little harder now because I don't have my car with me, but like I definitely feel like there are boundaries and things that I might have to like be more forceful about, which is so difficult because I'm the youngest, and so Ellie, you can relate. And so even with you had your mom living with you, and you probably felt like there's certain things and it was the pandemic, so of course you probably weren't going out as much anyway, but still like there are things where you kind of feel maybe like trapped in your own house.
For sure. I mean, my mom was also living with me for a whole entire year before the pandemic. She moved in February 2019.
Oh, wow.
So while everybody else was locked up in 2020, I was already living that locked up life for a whole year.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, no, it was true. Like, and I like, it's crazy how I didn't even like really mention this, but like, no, like a lot of boundaries, like, like my mom just kept, like, I don't know, because it's like, it's just weird how like I just felt like, like my whole house was kind of like my zen, and then all of a sudden, like, it's just like only like parts of my house were like kind of mine, and even still not really. So like, like we don't really like lock doors or anything. So like, it's not like she would like come into but like sometimes she'd come in to my room, check my bathroom, and just get upset because if it's dirty, and it would just be that would just be a massive boundary break, because it was like, why are you looking to get mad? Like what is it that you're trying to figure out and test, or like, it's like, and she'd always get upset when I would say like, hey mom, this is my house, this is my home. Like it just upset her, and it was just something I just needed to care about. It's like, well, it is, mom, like, but I remember one time she was like, it's not your house, it's God's house. I guess just to say something to,
just to say something.
Yeah, just to say something, just like to, knock me down a peg. Because like, oh, how dare I buy a home at 24?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And I was like, oh boy, now there's two people not paying rent. So but yeah, but it was just yeah, like that was definitely like a massive boundary break. But yeah, sorry, Toby. Definitely continue. I could talk about my mom living with me.
No, it's good. It's good. I know that's one thing, and I've mentioned before, even with the whole food thing, right? When we were talking about food, and that's why I was so impassioned that first week. I was like, "What is the etiquette of going out to eat?" Because I am not, and this is something my parents talked about. Like, God doesn't have to eat. No, but this is something that I talked about. Like, I had this little conversation with my parents yesterday. Like, they always love to check in on me to kind of like catch up because I'm not home very often. We didn't have a catch up over Thanksgiving, partly because 4 out of 6 of us had COVID, not including me. Um, but also
Okay.
like one of the things we talked about was like in the past I've let people borrow money, and sometimes one person borrowed people borrowed a lot of money. One person borrowed $1,900. That money though they quickly paid back like within 2 weeks, so it was very quick. It's just that they needed something for like a car title or registration, but the person paid me back in like cash. They gave me one amount in Cash App, but they gave me $900 in cash, and I didn't ask for that. And they didn't tell me they were going to pay me. They just said, "Hey, I want to come over." Just someday during the week, they came over with a coworker. She was like, "Hey, can I come with my coworker?" They're on the clock, so they came, and she was like, "Oh, here's your money." I was like, "Wait, what?" So she gave it to me in 20s. Like if it was hundreds, it's like okay, 9 100s, but it was literally 20s. So do the math. That's like 45 $20 bills, and I was like, "No." I mean, and the reason why this became a big deal was because one, it's just annoying to try to carry that money and return it. But I took it with me home for Thanksgiving because this was like October 2021, like near Halloween. So Thanksgiving comes around, I come home, I have all this money, and then I like my mom sees it, and I tell some friends about this, and they're like, "Your mom probably thought you were doing drugs." Night, girl.
Good night. Happy New Year.
My friends were like, "Yeah, your mom probably thought you were like selling drugs or something, and that's why you have all this cash." And so but my mom was even like, why do you have all this money? And I had to explain the situation. And that money, thankfully, was not the whole amount. Like I left some of it in my apartment, but I took some of it home. And so it was like $500 or so that I might have had. And so he was even like, I mean, I didn't even tell her the whole amount. I just had the 500, and I was like, yeah, I sent my friend like this amount, and they paid me back. And then my mom was worried, like, oh, well, maybe the person gave it, like maybe it's fake, maybe it's like counterfeit money. That's why they give it to you in cash so that they can get your money on your Cash App, but then they give it to you in cash. I mean, that friend was not like conniving like that. And thankfully, the money was real. Like my mom even deposited a bunch of it and sent it to me through Zelle, which was nice. But like still it is like boundaries where it's like I can't let people borrow money like that. Then the stuff that happened with food, which I was mentioning like back in November, was like paying entire bills, and people would send money but then they just wouldn't send it, or they would send it and not pay the tip. So now it's just like, no, like I'm gonna be very explicit that we're paying our own way, and if you don't have money, congrats, you're maybe gonna take it up with the server. I'm gonna pay my part and you really need to figure it out. So it's like I've learned certain lessons, but then I feel like every time I learn a lesson about not letting people borrow money or not letting people do XYZ, some other nonsense comes up where it's like, oh, now I have to not even pay for people because they're not going to pay me back during like, a restaurant outing. Now I have to like learn about XYZ. And it's just like annoying because, I didn't necessarily think that I had to have so many boundaries. Like they're just things that I had to keep sort of like learning that I shouldn't let people do. So that's a big one, is financially. Even taking people places. I mean, gas has gone a lot down, but it's still a real cost in terms of the money for gas and time. I mean, if they want to pay gas, cool, but I feel weird asking. And I feel like a lot of people just might not offer any. So I might have to be like, hey, sorry, I won't have the money. I won't have the time or the money. And so maybe if they say, hey, I can pay, then cool. But otherwise, being kind of intentional that I might not be able to give people rides freely, unless it's like it's already on the way. That's not a big deal. But some friends have been very good, like where they were more than happy to send $10, $20. But still, that is wear and tear on the car. So I just have to be kind of mindful about that. And then I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, time overall, just making sure that if someone asks me for a favor, time, a task, do I have time for it? Like one thing that happened was someone had they said they had like an uncle and they had like a coding challenge that they wanted to do for like Amazon, and so I was supposed to just help them through it. And the guy was like, hey, can you do it? Like, yeah, whenever your schedule is good. So this was back in 2021, like October. And this was shortly after I dealt with these squatters who were like literally living in my apartment for like, one person was almost 2 months. The other one was for like a month. And so I had just gone through that ordeal. And that's another huge boundary. That's already not been happening since then. No free rides like that. But this person's uncle, like I came first, the person kind of got on me because like, oh bro, like I came to your place. I thought you were gonna be here by 7. But I was like, I'm still at work, and like I gave an approximate time, but I didn't know if I could make it. So I was like, one, that whole thing was annoying. So now I'm just like not even gonna agree to that. But 2, I ended up doing the whole coding challenge for the guy. Like I literally did like 2 like what's that really popular website for coding challenges? I forget the name of it, HackerRank. So there were 2 HackerRank challenges, and so it's a very popular platform to like do like mock challenges, and companies will use HackerRank to like do these automated coding challenges. You pick whatever language you want, Java, Python, and it'll adapt, and then you put your solution in. You can pretty much submit an unlimited amount of times. I don't think they penalize you for wrong answers. It's just, can you get it done within the time frame? And if you have the right answer with the right output, then you'll see it. And so I basically did his whole HackerRank challenge for him. And it was kind of a fun thing to like refresh my coding skills, which were very rusty at that time. But it was also like, I wish you guys had just told me that that was what you wanted to do, because that's like kind of a lot. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably not going to like just help people like that and just do their interview questions for them, because what? So that was October 2021. So, and I feel like that's like some of the big ones I can think of, like, you know, but I think even just like in terms of like how people talk or treat me too, like to make sure that I'm not being kind of pushed over and walked over, because I'm a very easygoing and chill guy. And I've had to learn a lot of very tough lessons, especially in 2021. Like when my house was the African trap house or whatever you want to call it. And so it was fun, but it was also a lot. And I feel like I've already not been hanging out with some of those same people a lot, partly because I moved, but also because there were just some interesting things that had happened, including furniture being destroyed, people burning carpet with hookah coals, things that just happened and no one really took accountability or responsibility. Still never got picked up people. Hey, Marmo.
Hey. Wait, have you joined our Discord?
Oh, yes, please join the Discord.
Yes, por favor. I wish I could speak Spanish.
I made it to the league, Mom. But no, so I'll wrap up on that point. But it's just a lot of things where, I mean, I don't know. I'm already kind of like, I told you guys, like, I need to stop meeting new people, like in the Discord. Part of it is like, I just want to keep the contacts that I have. And if I meet new people, cool. But I also want to make sure it's very positive, very good. I'm not getting kind of weird vibes and user vibes. Like, okay, you just want me for XYZ thing. And so invest in the people who have shown me like real good respect and have helped me with stuff, and make sure that I can help them the same way, and, you know, keep it pushing past that. So we'll see what happens. Oh, my roommate. Well, that's a whole nother conversation, but I mean, not like I have a bad relationship with her, but it's just, I've learned things about living with someone while being a full-time professional. Very different from living with someone in college or even grad school. And so I feel like there are some boundaries. And I think she's been establishing more. She cleaned out the living room and did a whole lot of stuff, like literally the past week while I've been here in Maryland. And she's been trying to declutter, which is big for her mental health, which I appreciate. So I just have to be mindful to not like keep it cluttered. But I also need to make sure that like I'm kind of setting certain boundaries with certain things. Like there's, oh my God, like I don't want to get down to it too much because I know it's getting late, and like I don't want to sound like I'm bad mouthing my roommate or anything. It's just that there are definitely things that I have to kind of like realize, yeah, this isn't good. Like one quick one I'll say is I don't use a lot of trash. Like I compost, right? My job has composting, so I take a lot of trash to the compost, and I recycle a ton, kind of obsessively, OCD, very intensely, where I try to like process things the best way I can. So I don't really generate a lot of trash. Like when I lived by myself, over the years, I got better at it, where like I easily wouldn't have to take out the trash for weeks. Bad if I actually had real trash in there, because it would just start to go bad and not get taken out, but it wouldn't build up. And so my roommate puts like everything in the trash, boxes, cans, doesn't matter. And so it fills up a lot. And sometimes it's multiple times a week. And I'm the one who, I had a rental car, but I would go to my office more. She would stay home. So sometimes she would literally ask me, like, I would walk out sometimes she would like run after me with bags of trash, like, "Hey, can you take this out?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to my office, and I'm already running late." But I would just do it, and sometimes I would keep it in my car and then take it out afterwards, so I wouldn't have to stop at the dump, or I would just do it there on the way. But I feel like I need to be like, "Hey, I don't mind helping take out the trash, but I really can't just like have this tossed on me while I'm going to work or while I'm doing something." Like, if you want to tell me, even at night, like I wouldn't mind going out and taking it out, but let's not just do this suddenly during the day. And there's like other things where I feel like I need to assert more boundaries um on. And I even talked with one friend about it, and she said, well, maybe it's also because you're living with a girl and they kind of expect you to do more of the things with lifting, taking out the trash, some of the more dirty work. And I'm like, maybe, but what if you guys are all women living with each other? Like, unless you guys have a boyfriend living with you, someone's gonna have to do the things. Like, and Al, you're a homeowner, so it's like, what are you doing? Like, unless you just have
I
a
just
man
invite a lot of men over, like, every other day when I
other
need the
day.
trash taken out.
stuff. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that. So I don't know. And again, it's not like I'm trying to vent in particular, because like we've been good friends since we like became really good friends in 2021. But it's just that I don't know. Like there's some things I definitely noticed that I'm like I need to kind of be like, hey, this can happen, but it shouldn't happen in this way. And if I can help, cool. But I shouldn't. Like there was a point where I very much was the one, because I had a car and her leg was more broken at the time, and I get it. But I was doing a lot of things, helping to pick stuff up, give rides, and it could be a lot at times. And I don't want to be too like, because if I had a severe injury, I would want someone to help me, but I don't, everything has to be in moderation. So that's my kind of little overview of boundaries. And I literally have to make my own list and think of things as I sort of think of my environments, right? Work, life, rooming, family, home, friends, professional. I have to think of a lot of these things, but this is kind of an off the fly, off the dome type of thing. So I will take my big cup of shut up. It's an empty cup of tea. It doesn't even have any liquid in it, but
It's just metaphorical. The metaphorical big cup of shut up. What Chad said, and this will then we'll like be wrapping up to leave. But I do want to just say this last point. What Chad said is like absolutely true about some of that gender shit has to be made explicit. Too many people are happy to keep it implicit because it benefits them, and it's true. Like I can see like where your roommate or friend was just like kind of assuming that because you're the guy that you'd just be like kind of taking out the trash. Sometimes people keep yeah they'll just like because you're a male that you're gonna just like kind of take out the trash. But like I was kind of like, because like I was like I kind of see where she's coming from, but I was like, well, every time a guy has like taken out the trash, for not every time, there's probably been about one or two guys who were like strictly just friends and they just like to help out, especially like after a party or something. But except those one or two guys, like if a guy helps take out the trash, it's usually because like I am like dating him or maybe like hooking up with him kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, if you want some, you gotta help out.
that's valid.
That's sort of the thing. I'm not saying like looking for the one and I want to see how well he is and cleaning up. Like no, it's just like I don't know, when you help clean out, it's kind of hot. So like it's it's hot with like he like loads the dishwasher or like cleans up and like things like that. It just is like because it's just nice. But if you were like my roommate Toby, well, it'll be different because like you would most likely be living with me and I would just be used to taking care of my home. Like of course I'd want you to like help out because you also live here. Yeah. But like if like the trash is overflowing and like you're home and I come home from like work or something and it's like, come on Toby, like take out the trash. Like what are you waiting for? Kind of thing. Yeah. It's like it takes like 2 minutes. But,
yeah.
So like I get that, but like if it was like I had a roommate in college real quick. Like I would always just be taking out the trash. Like I don't know why she just never did. And like there was a time when um like the glass in the microwave broke, like the little thing, and then I was like at the bottom of the trash, and I went out of town for like a weekend, and I come back and like the trash is overfilled, and there's like paper towels like stacked up like way above, and it was just like, why the hell didn't she just take out the trash? And I'm like cleaning it, and I'm and I hear the glass at the bottom. I was like, this is the same trash from that long ago, like when the fucking microwave glass broke. Like, are you serious? Like, I wanted to just like rage because I was like, I can't believe people like this exist. This was like freshman year of college, so we're like 18. Like, you should know how to change freaking trash. And it's not like we had to like we're on the 4th floor. But it's not like we had to like go outside or anything. There was like a trash chute, and the trash chute was like right there. Like, you didn't even have to go far.
Oh, especially if the trash chute in the building. Yeah, you're wild and like not
Right.
take that out.
Like, we were right in front of the kitchen, so if you were like super lazy, you could just dump it into like the big kitchen garbage, which I've done before. Or you just go to like the trash chute, which wasn't even that far. Like, we were close to everything. I don't know, but like, yeah. So that's my bad. That was just
No, that's
You're
trauma
good.
memory. Something I thought I blocked out of my.
And you said that was you were with a roommate or you were visiting someone. And there was
It was a roommate. Like,
Okay.
I went out of town and I came back and the trash was just like way overflowing. It was like unnecessarily. I was only gone for like a weekend. It was like a day and a half, 2 days, and the trash was just like way overflowing. And it's like, why the hell did she just? I guess she just assumed it was my job because I just kept taking out the trash. But I'm like, taking out the trash because the trash needed to be changed. Like, that's like who the hell would be mad if that the trash is changed? It's like, how dare she do my? I don't get paid to change the trash. Like, what type of household balance of work you want? Crazy. It's true if you're in a relationship. Now, if you're trying to
Yeah.
impress me, that's a different story. Like,
Yeah.
I do tend to judge guys on how much like they want to help out. Like, I do. It's like there was like this one guy who was like mad confused about changing the trash. I was like, hey, can you help me change the trash? And he was like, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Schitt's Creek, but there's like a pretty famous scene. You might have seen like just a clip of it or seen it like referenced in a meme or something, but it was like a scene where like it's like these uppity people who now have to like live in like a shitty motel, and they were trying to cook something and they were like, oh, they want you to just fold it in. And they're like, what do you mean? Yeah, you just fold it in. You just fold like this like dough or something into like this pot. You just fold it in. It's like, what do you mean fold it in? How do you fold it in? What do you mean fold it in? So like when I was telling this guy, I was like, hey, can you help me change the trash? He was like, what? It's like, yeah, can you help me change the trash? It's like, how do you it's like you change the trash. It's like, I know, but like how do you he just seemed so like confused. So I was like, you changed the like the trash needs to be changed. So you change the trash. Like you he changed the trash. He was not happy about it, or like I understand like you're not really supposed to be like happy about it, but you're supposed to be like either just like, yeah, of course, or just like chill about it or something.
Yeah.
Have you adulted, lady?
Adulthood.
Have you adulted?
Yeah,
lady?
it's interesting. I mean, like
Bad goes in, bad goes out. You can't explain. I was like really, because he's like, I think he's like a year or two older than me, and I'm like, does he not? Like, I was like, am I speaking a different language? Like, was it? Like, you
I don't know how to change.
like
That's
was like,
interesting.
like, should I have used like different term? And I was like, maybe he uses garbage. Like maybe he uses like basura. Like what? It wasn't Spanish, but like it's like what?
Just try everything. Oh
Yeah, like the mini dump.
Okay, so he was a guy who was, talking to
Yeah.
whatever, and he was over, and you had just asked him to help change the trash.
Yeah,
And
because
I
they're
guess
like
he was
cleaning the kitchen. I was like putting the stuff in the dishwasher and just like, it was like, was he not comprehending what was occurring?
yeah, something strange going on there.
It was so weird.
That's different.
So are you gonna burn it? Like, how do you, trash isn't gonna change itself. Yeah, no, he sure as fuck did. So yeah, so like after that, a few days, I was like, yeah, no, I would be totally fine never seeing you again.
Sheesh.
It was rough.
Mm,
I'm sure he
jeez.
had a great time, but I know he had a great time. For him, me, it was like, I cannot wait until you're gone. Cannot wait until you're gone.
I'm not gonna miss you when you're gone.
No, I was just
I'll
like,
miss you when you're gone. Does the cup stacking? But no, yeah, that's goodness. Honestly, this is a good one. Like, I'm gonna have to like follow up and post some things if I can think. I know, Chad, you were like, I'm getting mad watching. I saw your comment, and I don't know exactly which point you said that at, but I'm glad that like I'm not crazy for like some of the things that I was sharing, where it's like these things have just happened to me, and I'm like, why did this happen? And my mom would be like, you have such a good heart and all this, but it can lead to people taking advantage. And there's so many situations in the past, like. I didn't even tell them about some of the things that happened this past few years, 2021. Just more about people borrowing money. Not to mention people. Oh my god, like it's so bad when I think about people who I sent money to. Some of them they pay me back for some things, for some bills. One person, $900 that I let them borrow because of an incident that happened, and she did pay me back actually. Like and I mean, I feel bad because she is someone who's a good friend, so I don't want to be bad about anything. But like, it was like March. I was going to a conference. She called me. I had the money to spare at the time, but I didn't get the money back for a while until I explicitly was like, "Hey, do you know when you're gonna start paying this?" And then they started paying in amounts, maybe 200 at a time, maybe 300. Then started getting lower, like 150, 100. But it was paid back over, maybe a month and a half. But it took from like March until I started really pushing them on it. Like maybe it was June, July, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And so, and I mean, they even kind of got back to me like, yeah, I'm so sorry. It took so much longer. It was $800, but I was like, it took so much longer. I'm so sorry. And they even offered to return the favors. Like, I'm in a better place now. If you need anything, let me know. But it's kind of like, I want to be careful not to keep that door too open where it's like people get really comfortable. Or people who like, I need Uber for work and then my car got totaled, blah, blah, blah. And they did get money back to me, but it's just like, okay, every time you ask now, I'm like, no, sorry, I can't. Other people who just asked for like 200. And this is actually the last story. I have to talk about this because this one's annoying. There was someone who had like, I guess had asked for like maybe to borrow 200 or 300. And I just told them I'm not in a good place right now. There's a lot of things like I need to like deal with buying a car. I don't want to I don't have money to just spend like that. That was earlier in the summer. And this is a friend who like would oftentimes hit me up asking like, hey, and we haven't talked for maybe months, maybe just whatever. And they hit me up, hey, can you help me with something? And she's helped me. Like she helped me clean my apartment and like clear out a bunch of stuff when I was moving out of my place April of 2021. So I appreciate her for that. And like, but I've helped her when she's like, hey, can you ride with me to this place that's like an hour away and kind of in the hood to get my car detailed? I don't want to ride alone. Okay, cool, sure. And so we rode together or whatever. So fast forward, I messaged her because there's something going on for Labor Day. Oh, I'm hosting this like kind of pool. The pool was not super open, so it was more of just like a grill, cookout, chill thing at my apartment complex. And I was like, hey, I hope you're doing well. Well, I was just like, hey, I'm having this grill thing come through. And she was like, hello, like, I don't know, she gave a really weird response. She was like, hello, like, do you know how I'm doing? Or like, how are you? Hi, something. And I was like, I just like, because she's usually like a really like she'll say like a lot of jokes that can be even really like harsh and stuff. Like when she jokes in her joking style, she can be kind of very sarcastic or very like whatever. So I kind of was just like leaning into it. I was like, you're welcome. I'll see you there. But then like next thing I know, I was like unadded on Snapchat and I was like, what? So I didn't explicitly ask about that, but I did message on other platforms like WhatsApp because literally they had messaged me some weeks before asking if I could like take them to a T-Mobile because that's an emergency and I couldn't. So, we were on the phone, whatever. And she kind of was saying like, yeah, I've been going through a lot of hard times and maybe I'm not in a place where I can necessarily do XYZ anything. And I kind of held my tongue back with it, but I kind of wanted to be like, yeah, I don't appreciate that you basically blocked me for me inviting you to something, but you messaged me out of the blue, out of thin air many times to ask for favors. And like, you should practice what you preach. If you're telling me like, I don't know, that I should have checked on you before just like messaging you at the blue, you also should do the same thing. Stop asking me for favors without asking how I'm doing for months at a time. And I asked you to come to my place for an event I'm hosting. So I'm not even asking for a favor. Rather, I'm inviting you into my space because she hadn't seen that apartment yet. And I didn't even say all of that. And I haven't really been in touch with her much since. I'm pretty sure we're still not friends on Snap, but we are friends on like every other platform. But low-key, I'm just like, I'm kind of in like one of those like, if I don't talk to you again for some time, I'm kind of cool with it because I really did not appreciate that and how that was. And I don't know, she could have been going through some crazy stuff and maybe felt some type of way. And I messaged her without checking in, but I'm like, that goes both ways. So I'm just kind of like learning things from different interactions and just like weird stuff that's just like, what? Like, I thought I was, being pretty like courteous here, but somehow I was the bad guy. I don't know. Yes, no, like I definitely need, and she actually funny because we had a good conversation, that friend, before this incident happened in September. We had a really good conversation where I was just telling her so much stuff that happened in my life, so much nonsense that had happened with my last apartments, and all this other stuff. And we were talking maybe like in June, July, or even August, because we had met up for this cruise in July because she moved out of the state of Mass and came back. So we had a conversation. We met in person at a party, and it was fun. Like we caught up after not seeing each other for like almost 2 years. And so, like she literally was like, "You could write a book. Like you could have a book on all this, like all these things that have happened." She was like, "Just the stories are so fascinating." And for me, I'm like, "Yeah, it kind of is." Unfortunately, she is now a footnote in the book. But I mean, I don't know. Like we've had a lot of good times, so I don't want to like completely crap on her. But I was just like, "What?" Very taken aback from that. But still, like there's a lot of weird craziness that has happened, and I definitely need to like publish it in a blog. Have to be kind of careful not to out people, but like you borrowed money, you've done this thing, you're weird, you're strange, you're acting really funny. Come to Philly, get the guest tree. Dang, Chad. So if I come through to Philly, that's what's about to happen. But I did see that he said he's about to go. So appreciate you, Chad. And I'm definitely done now because I know it's almost 12:30 a.m. and it's been almost 3.5 hours on this stream.
Yeah. But that's how it always is here on the Melanated Council. Like we could definitely just like go on forever, but then we're like, oh yeah, we still got work and all that good stuff.
But take my mood relaxation supplements or my CBD or both, maybe. Yeah. I finished the CBD for sleep, by the way. I did finish that before New Year's. So
did you sleep?
I mean, it helped a little, but I sometimes still stayed up because I just was on my phone or whatever. But it did, did have a calming effect. And this one I haven't taken since I've come home, but I'm going to have to because I finished the CBD.
Yeah. And on that note, Toby might have, a career in the works, but we do got to run. It is almost 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, but as always, y'all, like we love you. We'll see y'all next week. Yes. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
And catch y'all next week with a new topic-ish under the same, mental health and boundaries umbrella.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Love y'all.
Hey.
See y'all